Greetings and many blessings to everyone. My name is Cassandra and you're watching Spotless Mind Tarot. In this timeless pick a group tarot reading, we are going to take a look at what you need to know about your current relationship. These readings are for any kind of relationship that you're in, whether you've been together with someone for years or for months. However, if you are single and dating, or you find yourself interested in another person, or another person is into you, then you might find some messages in one of these readings. There are 4 groups to choose from. As you can see on the screen, they are represented by different hearts and tarot decks. The first group we have is a planet heart with the cosmic tarot. The second group is a broken heart with the golden art Nouveau tarot. The third group is a pixelated heart with the easy tarot. And the fourth group is the strawberry heart with the Albano-Waite tarot. If you have chosen your heart, you may skip ahead to your reading now. And if you need more time, I will leave them up on the screen for the next 30 seconds. I suggest you choose the heart that is grabbing all of your attention. So don't second guess it, and it doesn't have to be the one you find most attractive. Just go with what your instincts are telling you. Timestamps and all other information can be found in the description below. If you enjoyed this tarot reading and would like for me to go even deeper for you, I offer private readings that you can purchase on my Etsy shop. Not only do I offer tarot readings, but I also make gemstone and metal jewelry, digital birth charts, and acrylic paintings. The link to my shop can be found on the screen or in the description below. Blessings. If you pick group number 1 with the planet heart and the cosmic tarot, this is your reading for what you need to know about your current relationship. First, we will begin the reading by taking a look at both you and your partner's energies. I'll pull 1 card for person A and 1 card for person B. This will help you to decide if you picked the right group, and it gives me insight into who you guys are as individuals. After that, we'll look at the current energies of the relationship. Then we'll look to see what needs to be brought to your attention about this relationship. At the end of the reading, I will pull an oracle card from the Urban Crow Oracle. The oracle card will serve as a guiding force or a conclusion, and it should tie all the energies together in this reading. Before I begin, I just want to say that this is an audio recorded reading. This is my preferred method of doing tarot readings. I personally don't like to be on camera, even if you can't see me. There's just something about cameras I just despise. So hopefully it's fine for you. Of course, on the screen you will see your spread as we progress along. And in the background, I have a singing bowl playing. You might be able to pick it up in the audio. But if not, you're welcome to go click on the link below in the description. I have a link to the singing bowl I am listening to. I like to listen to a singing bowl every time I perform a tarot reading, just because it is a sound frequency, and the frequencies help open and expand different aspects of ourselves. And today I'm using a phenocite singing bowl frequency. Phenocite is wonderful for connecting to the higher mind and higher consciousness. It is connected to the crown and especially to the 3rd eye chakra. So this is all about expanding and opening your awareness. And it's also very, very healing and incredibly relaxing. So if you're into sound healing, I suggest you go check it out and listen to it. Either while you're watching this, or just, whenever you have a chance. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the cards, and we're going to get a card for person A and person B, and it's up to you to decide who is who in this situation. Either you're person A or you're going to be person B. You don't have to be in a relationship to watch this. However, if you're single and there's nobody in your life that you're interested in or dating, then these messages aren't going to really reach you. But if you are single and there's somebody you're interested in or you are dating, then this message may apply and you could receive some kind of insight. However, this is more geared towards couples, no matter how long you've known each other, how long you've been together. It's just specifically for relationships. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and shuffle and we will get the reading started. Okay, so for person A, we have the Hermit. And for person B, we have the Death card. And so person A is pretty self-explanatory. This person is a hermit. They are very much, they could be introverted. They could also be somewhat shy. But overall, they're just, they keep to themselves for the most part. At least currently, you know, this is the energy I'm picking up on them. And so whatever energies I pick up on you guys, like, it doesn't have to completely define who you are as individuals. It's just, this is just what I am receiving. And so the Hermit could also be on their own spiritual path. They could be on an inward journey, like really discovering themselves. I also feel like they're rediscovering themselves. So I feel like they're really tapping into something that they haven't tapped into in quite some time. And so there could be some inner child work happening. They could be connecting to their inner child. They could also be like, maybe they went back to like an old job, or maybe they picked up an old hobby. Whatever it may be, I feel like they're revisiting something. And again, it could also just be like with themselves. Maybe they have a lot of time to themselves right now, and so they're deciding to just go ahead and enjoy their little solitude, their little seclusion here. I feel like they are comfortable. I feel like they're happy with where they are. They're really relying on their own intuition and inner guidance. I also feel like they're taking time off. So this could mean like they're taking time off for work. Maybe they're in between jobs. Maybe they have enough saved up, or maybe in this relationship they don't have to work necessarily, so they're taking time for themselves. But if they are working and they you know, are out there in the world and not secluded, I still feel like they're just going on an inward journey right now. And I feel like they're liking what they see so far. Now the Hermit is a Virgo energy, so they could have Virgo in their chart, or they could even have 6th house placements. They could also be like reevaluating their life in general. Maybe they're changing routine, either by force or they just feel like it. I'm also getting like a sense of like spring cleaning. So they're doing some kind of spiritual spring cleaning. And by doing that, they're cleaning up their personal space. There's something in their environment that they're clearing. I'm also getting like someone saging their home. They could also be getting rid of things, like donations. This is really specific, but I feel like they're giving something away to their little brother. They could also be like a mentor to their little brother in some way, or a younger male sibling or relative. Well, a sibling obviously would be a brother, so like a male relative that's younger than them. I feel like significantly younger. I feel like if it's not a sibling, it could be their own child. Like I feel like they're passing off something to this younger person. Now person B is interesting because we have the Death card. This person is going through a deep transformation here. I feel like they're also coming out of a transformation. So it could be different for a lot of you, but I feel like overall, I'm just going to stick with that. That person B is coming out of a transitional phase. And I feel like they're pretty excited about it. You know, there's like all this rubble around them, you know, in the imagery of the death card. And they're still standing tall, and they're standing confidently. I know this image could be kind of off-putting, but like I feel like they're very satisfied with whatever the heck they just went through. I feel like they went through hell. They just like they went through something here, something heavy, and they're finally like out of it. The sun in the background is rising. So this is a huge rebirth. Person B is going through such a profound rebirth. And I feel like that also kind of inspires person A to for them to want to dig deeper into themselves, because they see person B coming out on top of their, let's say, their dark night of the soul. Like whatever it is they went through, like they're out on top of it now. And like person A is just like so inspired by that. And so that could be one reason why person A is digging deeper. But it doesn't have to be. It could just be their own doing. Again, like they could just have time off and they're just like, let me take advantage of this now while I can. Because this isn't going to last forever. I know I'm not going to just like not go to work forever, like, or whatever it may be. So let me just like sit with myself. But person B has definitely gone through a huge transformation. And I'm pretty excited too for them. Like, again, like I know the image can be kind of scary or like intimidating, but like I'm so like focused on the sun rising behind, and it looks like it's rising behind on like a square canvas. It's like a new chapter, a new phase, and it's like they're the one who put the sun on the canvas behind them, kind of like a painting. Like, so like whatever they went through, they really like they did it. Even if they didn't do it on their own, they did it on their own. Like it was still up to them to get through it. And it's just like I feel like they've like shattered and like I'm getting like shattered timelines. Like they really are like they broke the matrix. Like they're free from something here. It's very, very liberating. So person B has definitely liberated themselves out of something troubling, something dark. It could even have been like a spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakenings are not like, you know, easy. You know, when people think of a spiritual awakening, you think you're just going to get this profound enlightenment and higher consciousness and everything's fine, but it's actually like agonizing. And it can, for some people, like for the most part, a spiritual awakening is usually triggered by some kind of trauma. And the deeper the trauma, the deeper the awakening. It could be an indirect or a direct, like, trauma event. Like, it could be something they've seen in the world that's caused them to go inwards, or it could be something that happened to them that has caused them to go inwards. Regardless, like, they're on top of it now. I feel like they're out of it. If anything, they're coming out of it. They're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. They're in a much better place they are now than they were before. It's definitely a long time coming, and I definitely feel like they're celebrating. And person A is really like happy for person B, and person B is like really supportive of person A. It's like you guys are like getting off on spiritual highs. I think that's wonderful. So let me go ahead and look at the current energies, and we'll see where you guys are at this time within the relationship. Okay, so for the current energies, we got Prince of Swords, Four of Pentacles in reverse, Eight of Swords, and Nine of Cups. And the Nine of Cups came out with the Eight of Swords. This row was meant to have just 3 cards, but you guys got 4 cards. Group 3 also got 4 cards, and I was unaware that I did that until a little bit later. But with this reading, Nine of Cups came out with Eight of Swords, so those two are going together. So the Prince of Swords, when I pulled that first, I felt like somebody's picking up on new studies. Somebody is starting school again, or starting some kind of program, some kind of training. In regards to the relationship, somehow that has something to do with the relationship. Maybe you both are doing something together. Maybe you're both going back to school. Maybe you both are studying and learning something together. And there's an eagle peeking behind this man that I'm just like really drawn to. And like the eagle looks really, really curious. So somebody could just be really observant here. I feel like there could be a student-teacher dynamic happening. And like I'm getting like the eagle energy is like person A. Like they're watching person B like in all their glory, in all their wisdom. Now Prince of Swords is typically the Knight of Swords. And so there's something happening here. There's a new beginning happening within this relationship. As person A is going inwards and person B is coming out of their little inward journey, there's something brand new happening here. There's a new adventure and a new journey that you both are going on. So although you still will have your own little individual paths and like things going on in your lives, I feel like there's some kind of unification, reuniting. I feel like maybe because person B was such in a dark place for so long, they couldn't fully give themselves to the relationship, and now they're able to. And so that's what's bringing this unity together. And there's like a lot of inspiration. I feel like even though person A is really inspired by person B is equally inspired by person A. I think person B is looking at person A like they're very brave to want to do this. They're very brave to want to be in solitude. Even just if it's metaphorical, like if they're not actually in a place of seclusion. That's just like what I'm getting overall. And so a new journey is beginning. And this is air energy. And so it's all about like higher knowledge, higher self, higher power, a higher wisdom. I feel like you guys are both acknowledging a higher power. And again, like I'm getting like you guys are getting off on this spiritual high. So with that said, there could even be some like tantric stuff happening between you two. And I know tantra tends to typically just be associated just to sex and sexual energy. Although tantra energy is sexual energy, it doesn't have to be ignited through some kind of sexual act. You know, tantra is just, it's an overall aspect. It's a creative life force. And so that could be something that's happening. And tantra typically happens between two people anyways. Whether it's like couples or like a teacher-student or whatever the case, like it usually takes two to alchemize that energy. And it's so there's a lot of deeper connection happening here. And a lot of it's just mostly to do with the air element, a lot of just like higher knowledge. And so maybe you guys are thinking about, or you guys are like joining some kind of group. So I'm getting like even like an online class. It could be like an astrology class. Maybe it is like a tantra class. Either way, like I feel like if that's not what's happening, maybe it's something to consider. Like taking some kind of class together. But something to do with spirituality. You know, something to do with expanding the higher mind here. 4 of Pentacles in reverse. This can show setbacks. There could be some financial losses happening. There might be some disagreements with where to invest money. So if you guys are looking into investment, maybe you can't agree on like a number or like where to put the money. Either way, money is some kind of issue right now. I also feel like it's about giving something away. And I also feel like the Hermit or person A is giving something away. Like they're giving away possessions. Maybe there's like even something else happening. Like maybe there was a death in the family and you're having to decide who gets what. And so maybe for one of you this is happening and you know that person is having to get with family members and decide like where things, like who gets what and where stuff goes. And so there's some issues there. I also just feel like maybe you guys are just giving up a lot of possessions in general. So it could be willingly or unwillingly. Like you're willingly clearing space, getting rid of things, putting a lot of money into something that could potentially yield abundance later on. But there is some issues with it. The issues could be like deciding what to get rid of, where to invest, or the issue is the fact that you have to do it, even though it wasn't planned. So you want to be really, really careful here. So I think it's really important that you guys are very, very mindful of where your resources are going at this time. Not to be overly generous. There's also like delay. So again, like if there's an inheritance, there's going to be a delay there. Whatever this is for you, whatever resonates for you, expect a delay. The 8 of Swords coming out with the 9 of Cups. So 8 of Swords is like personal imprisonment. It's like not seeing the bigger picture. It's being stuck in one's own way. So maybe this 4 of Pentacles in reverse can be disappointing. And it's got one of you or both of you kind of trapped. Maybe it's like unexpected, and so it's like bringing you guys down. Like you had other plans for that money. Mostly getting something about medical bills. But you know, the 9 of Cups is coupled with it, and it's like the complete opposite energy. 9 of Cups is one of the wish fulfillment cards. It's being satisfied with what you have. And so maybe that's the message here. Like no matter what this loss is, or whatever it is you have to give away here, I feel like the 9 of Cups is reminding you guys, like, you guys still have each other. You still have plenty. Like, look at all your cups. You still have your happiness. You still have your relationship. You still, like, nothing in the relationship's being affected too much by anything. And you guys are chasing that spiritual high. So I think the 9 of Cups is trying to help you guys get out of this 8 of Swords mentality. 8 of Swords could also be victim mentality. Not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy enough. And I feel like the 8 of Swords really ties into the 4 of Pentacles in reverse. And so you guys just got to remind each other, like everything's cool. So like even if there is like a major loss happening, you guys still have plenty of other resources. You guys still have each other. And this new journey with the Prince of Swords, I think it's going to bring you closer together anyways. It's going to, you know, I'm getting like teamwork. You guys are having to put some skills to use here. Like you guys have your own skill sets. And something is being called into question here. Or like something's being asked of you. The universe is asking you guys to put something to good use. Something you've been sitting on. Or even just the wisdom and knowledge you've obtained recently. Especially in recent years. The universe wants you to put it to good use. It's like now's the time to do something about it. Maybe it is now the time is to invest in something, but like you guys don't want to do it because it's like it's going to take a lot of your savings. Of course, don't take my advice as factual. Like please use your own discernment because I am not a financial advisor by any means. I am a tarot reader. And so I'm just going with what the cards are telling me. But it's like something is time though. Like now's the right time. Look at the bright side. 9 of Cups really wants you guys to look at the bright side to the situation. And to recognize that this is just a new chapter in your life. It's a new beginning. And it's really all about expanding the higher mind. And 9 of Cups too is kind of giving off that Tantra energy. That's where the whole sexual Tantra energy is coming from. Or it's coming through anyways. You know, a deeper intimacy. So even if it's not so much a sexual thing, there's just deeper intimacy between you two. There's a even deeper connection. Even like clearer communication between each other. Because I feel like person B, because they've gone through such of a difficult time and they're coming out on top, they have like a clearer perspective of who they are and who they are within the world. And because of that, they see themselves more clearly. And because of that, they can see the aspect of the relationship more clear. and they can offer way more than they had ever like thought they could. Mostly getting something like something's way more than you bargained for. And so if there is an investment, I do feel there's the what is to be yield from that is like way more than you could ever ask for. But again, please use your own discernment, because this is just a tarot reading. So, you know, if it resonates, then, you know, maybe it's for you, in the sense that maybe it is a green light. But again, like, you know, there's a disclaimer in the description. So I'm just going to say that. Okay, so that's the current energies, and I feel like that's all that needs to be known. So let me go ahead and pull cards for what you need to know. You know what's happening right now. So what do you need? What else do you need to know? And this can be like a conclusion to what's happening, or just something that needs to be brought to your attention. Okay, so we got the Hanged Man, Strength, the Hierophant in reverse, and the World card. And so we have all major arcanas here. And the thing about major arcanas, they're more archetypal energy compared to the minor arcana, which is more like everyday kind of things, and they're more of a like what to do kind of thing. So let's just look at the archetypal energy of all these cards. The Hanged Man is definitely wanting you guys to look at things from a whole new perspective. And I feel like you guys can now, because of like everything that I've said before. Like, your spiritual paths are allowing you to expand the higher mind and see things from a different point of view. And I kind of feel like the Hangman is a continuation from you know, the Four of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords, and how like disappointing it is. But then the Nine of Cups is like, actually it's really not that disappointing. You guys have more than enough. The Hangman is like a continuation of that. It's like, okay, now you need to actually apply that energy. You actually need to embody it. The great thing about archetypal energy is it's something that you could embody. It's something you can call upon. Like archangels, you know, they're archetypes. They're representation of the world at a larger scale. And the Hangman is Neptune energy. I know Neptune kind of gets a bad rep for being like delusional and like a hopeless romantic and like all that kind of stuff, but it's also like a feel-good energy. I was watching this video by Lada Denchiva. Actually, I'll put the link for it in the description below, so look out for that. You'll see link for group 1. And it's about the frequencies of the planets. And so she had these 2 guest speakers come on this stream she did. I actually haven't finished it, but up until the point I got to, they're talking about like the frequencies of the planets and what that frequency relates to. And I can't remember exactly what Neptune related to, but it was a very positive thing. You know, you think Neptune is all delusions and fantasy and a veil, but it could actually like represent like our true selves. You know, it's got similar energies to the moon, and the moon actually had like a lower frequency than expected, which is interesting. And so yeah, I'm just thinking about that video and how like Neptune was actually like vibrating at a high frequency, like the love frequency. And we have the Strength card. So the universe is here to really guide you guys, and it's giving you all the strength and all the power and wisdom that you need. I like how the sun is like sitting at the top of her head in the background, and it looks like she has a cobra on her tiara. She's got like some kind of tiara or headband. It looks like a cobra, so it reminds me of like the pharaohs in Egypt. And then it looks like she's got a tuning fork like on her forehead, so that's really interesting. So again, like this reading's really connected to the higher mind here, a higher knowledge. And so I feel like the universe is granting you guys this strength energy. It's really powerful. So there's a lot of like enlightenment taking place. There's a lot of like, it's beyond spiritual. It's not beyond spiritual awakening. Not to like, you know, make it any less than what it is. It's just like your guys' crown chakra is activated. For sure, for sure. I mean, this is a very spiritual connection, this reading. It's like, and like I feel it too, and it's like, but I feel it like at a higher level. So, you know, there's different levels to the human body. You know, we have our physical level. We also have like the lower levels. And then we have all these higher levels. I think there's 7 of them. I could be wrong. You know, like you have your Buddha body. And it's just like a frequency. It's like your higher self. And it's just like a higher frequency that your body resonates at. And of course, you know, you have to do the work to reach that state. It's kind of like astral projection or like lucid dreaming. You have to work for that. You can't just, unless you're just naturally gifted in that. Everyone has to like work for that. And it, you know, like lucid dreaming can take like a month. You work on it for like a month, you're good to go. And then you got to maintain it. And if you lucid dream long enough, you could actually really reach the state of that the Buddhas do. It's a higher state that you reach, and you lucid dream so much that when you fall asleep, you will dream of just pure white light. And I've experienced this for myself, and I remember going through it to where like I'm sleeping, but like I'm wide awake, but all I see is white light. And I'm just literally just with my thoughts. And I know I'm sleeping, you know, because you're lucid. But you reach this higher state, and it's just this white light, and it's fine. Like everything's fine. Like, you know, before you know it, you wake up in the morning. And like, so I'm not sure what I'm getting at here, but so there's something to that. Like there's a higher, you guys are going to reach an even higher state of consciousness. So maybe a lucid dreaming is something you guys can do, either together or for one of you, if it's not something you do already. There's so many like benefits. I highly recommend watching videos on it. There's so many things, you know, in studies. The Theosophical Society has some videos on lucid dreaming, and they have speakers talk about studies they've done, and it's just like, it's so amazing like what you could do. I'll save it for now because we don't need to have this whole conversation. But yeah, just overall, like there's just like so much like high frequency vibrating, and so like you guys are really tapped into your Buddha bodies. You're tapped into your higher mind. And I feel like for some it could be a little scary. For one of you or both of you, maybe there's times where you're like, because you're so tuned into higher frequencies, there's just too many weird things happening. So you want to be careful. Because depending on what you practice, so let's say you do witchcraft, and there's nothing wrong with witchcraft, but witchcraft is a dark art. Whether you do light work, whether you do shadow work, whatever kind of form of witchcraft you do, it's still a dark art, because you are manipulating the elements in your favor. Instead of allowing the elements to be in their natural state, you're disrupting them to your benefit, and you know, which is what witchcraft is. And there's a rule in witchcraft, you know, the 3-fold rule, or the rule of 3. Whatever you put out comes back to you 3 times, which is basically karma, right? And so you want to be careful what it is you engage in, what kind of practice you're engaging in. If you do witchcraft, you have to understand you are dealing with dark elements, and so naturally you're going to attract dark entities. Doesn't matter what kind of witchcraft you do, I don't care. It's going to happen. Okay? What you do is what you're going to attract. If you're going to engage in something like that, you gotta expect weird things to happen. You gotta expect visitors in your home. You gotta expect having weird feelings on your body for me, I when I'm being visited by spirits, I get, my head gets itchy. Sometimes when I do tarot readings, I feel this weight on my shoulders, or I feel like somebody has their hands on my shoulders. I don't feel it so much anymore because I don't do witchcraft anymore, but when I was like heavy into witchcraft and tarot readings, I would always feel like there's hands on my shoulder. And I didn't know what that was. I don't experience it as much anymore. So again, but it's you again, you just want to be mindful of what you're attracting, you know. But if you're into like higher consciousness, if you're doing like a more enlightenment path, you're gonna attract entities, but it's gonna be completely different. They're gonna be at higher frequencies instead of lower frequencies. So higher frequencies would be like people see orbs, people get more synchronicities, you know, you see more numbers, you see more things like connecting, even if they're like, say you see something on TV and then you go out and you're just driving along and you read something on someone's license plate and it connects to something you saw on the TV. And then like later on a day, you're standing in line at checkout and you see that thing again. And it's like 3 separate scenarios, but they're all connecting. That's like a higher frequency. Lower frequency would be, like I said, having visitors, having things touching you, seeing things at the corner of your eye, things like that. You know, seeing things at the corner of your eye, it's like they're entities that are there and they don't want you to see them. Whereas if you see an orb, it tends to be like in front of you, which I personally don't see orbs, but I know that that's an experience for some people. Okay, so that was a pretty big message there, but I think it reached you. I think there was a purpose in saying that. Again, like I'm channeling here, so I kind of don't even like remember what I just said. It just came out. So, and it was a very profound for me to say that. It was a very, very profound feeling I got. The Hierophant in reverse is interesting because this is like unorthodox. This could also be like somebody, I want to say deviating away from something. So let's say one or both of you guys are religious, or you have like a religious background, and as an adult it doesn't really resonate with you anymore, or maybe there's certain practices within that religion you don't agree with, and now you're like breaking away. So again, like I feel because you guys are expanding at such a high level, you guys are like changing perspective on what you believe religiously and spiritually. So maybe you guys are abandoning a religious practice, or you're going to pick up a religious practice. Spirituality is I want to say non-conclusive or like inconclusive. Like you could be spiritual and religious, and you could be religious and not spiritual. So when it comes to religion though, because the Hierophant is mostly religion, I feel like somebody's abandoning something, or like they're just going a different route. It's unorthodox. They're doing something that's not as before. You want to be careful of fake prophets. You want to be careful of false gurus. It's kind of like the self-help gurus you see on the internet, or like, you know, you see all these like spiritual people and they're like spiritual coaches, and like their Instagrams all like aesthetically pleasing and perfect, and like spirituality, I'm sorry, but like spirituality is not fucking perfect. And like I had a cuss there. Like that's all great and all, that's just to grab attention, but you have to read between the lines. A lot of these people, these self-help gurus, I saw a meme, it was like about self-help gurus, how like they're like teaching you something that they haven't obtained themselves. So you want to be careful. If you guys do join some kind of like program, or like some kind of like where you receive instruction, you want to be careful of false prophets. For the most part, people who are psychic, people who are mediums, people who are prophetic, don't flaunt it. Now I know I got in my Instagram description I put a prophetic tarotist. You know, that's just for like branding purposes, but I really don't like to say things like that. I don't like to give myself titles. Okay, so that's like another thing too. Like, some of these people aren't all phonies, they just have to play the game. They know they have to do the silly little reels and TikToks and have all the pretty pictures to attract people. So that's why I'm saying you have to look deeper, look beyond the surface, look at their credentials. Like I said, most honest psychics, like real deal prophets, they don't flaunt it, because being psychic is agonizing. There's nothing fun or cute or trendy about being a tarot reader, about being a psychic, about being a guru. Like, it is agonizing. Like, this shit is not cool. Like, this shit's not, it's not cool in the sense, like, it's not fun. And I think you guys understand that going through your spiritual practices. Like, it's not what they make it to be. So be careful of that. Be careful of receiving false instruction from people who claim something that they're not. And so the next card we have is the World card. That's a pretty powerful statement on its own. I mean, this is a really powerful reading, and having all of these major arcana cards is just like, it's so profound. And the World card is just like it's the card of completion. It's the last card in the major arcana. This card is ruled by Saturn. And so it's all about all the hard work you've put in. There is a huge completion happening in here, and there's huge success for both of you guys. And I feel like you guys can really integrate things now. Like, you could really take all that you know and all that you've learned on your own individual paths and really like apply it to the relationship. And like throughout this whole reading, and like especially now, like I could just see you guys vibrating at like such a high frequency. Like, I see your spiritual bodies. I feel so completely far removed from the material world here. And so the World card could also be a reminder to ground yourselves, to remember that reality unfortunately exists. Unfortunately, we have to pay our bills. Unfortunately, we have to eat to survive, right? We have to go to sleep. We can't just stay in such a high vibrating. I mean, we could, but you really got to remove yourself from society and go like live off grid, or like go travel to India and just be like in that complete state of bliss. But it's still not always good to be there forever. Just like how it's not always good to be trapped within the material world, within samsara. Like, you want to break out even just a little bit. And so the World is to remind you to also ground and root yourself into the earth, into the world, and to take all your spiritual wisdom and knowledge and really apply it. And I feel like you guys have such a grander mission here. Like, this is meant to be like a relationship reading, and all I'm getting is like just this, like, again, like I just see your spiritual bodies. And so I think the big message, the big takeaway is to really, you guys are here to like spread a message, either to each other or to other people. And it really has a lot to do with your innate capabilities and like your spiritual gifts. It could be anything. Like, it could be healing. Spirituality in general is healing. So you guys want to, like, you probably already know, but maybe you guys want to sit and talk about, like, what can we do with our spiritual gifts and our spiritual knowledge? How can we better serve the community, either at large or even just like a small group? Maybe this whole, like, with the Prince of Swords, like starting like a like joining a group, maybe you guys are the one that creates the group. Like, maybe you guys have something to offer to people, and you can create like some online like Zoom classes and teach people something. So I do see you guys working together as like spiritual teachers, which is like so profound. I feel like you guys have so much to offer. And it's like, because of this relationship, you guys are able to offer this. Like, without each other, none of this would have happened. Such a profound reading. Like, it's so incredible. I'm really happy for you guys. And you guys are really like overcoming things here. You guys are really like completing something here. I have written for the world the end results of all efforts. And it's concluding this reading for you guys. It's here at the bottom, at the very end. And so I want to end the reading there. I hope you guys got everything you needed from this. I'm pretty sure you guys do. I'm almost confident that you guys do, because I don't think you would have made it this far if this reading didn't resonate. I'm sure you would have picked something else by now. And you're more than welcome to pick another reading if you think there's more messages there. Although I do feel like one reading's enough for people. But if you really, really, really feel drawn to a second card, a second group, a second heart, please check that out. Okay, so we're going to end it here, and I'm going to pull an oracle card for you guys from the Urban Crow Oracle. I love this deck because every time I do free card pulls, which I do every now and then on Twitter and on Instagram, links are below in the description, so if you're interested in receiving a card pull every now and then, you can do so by following and just waiting for that moment to happen. But every time I do that, I mean, you guys are getting your free card now, but like every time I do that, like people love the messages they get from the crows. And like the crows are just, as you know, it's like a highly spiritual animal. I mean, Odin had like 2 crows or like 2 ravens with him. They were his messengers between worlds, and like they're just awesome creatures. Like there's so much we can learn from birds in general. And so this deck is amazing because it can take really, really complex situations and simplify it for us. So whatever complex message you got in this reading, hopefully this oracle card can like simplify it for you and ground it for you. Because again, because you guys are such high vibrational people, especially in this relationship, you really need to ground yourselves, because it's really easy to just fly off. You know, when you astral project, there's this cord connecting you from your belly button to your body, and if we didn't have that cord, I think our astral bodies would just take off and like end up somewhere where it doesn't need to be. So it's important to ground yourself, especially in meditation. When you start your meditation, you want to imagine yourself rooted into the earth. And you know, if you're familiar with Buddhist meditation, how they have the way they sit, how they have the soles of their feet pointing upwards, and then their knees are firmly planted on the ground. Their knees firmly planted on the ground is them rooting themselves, and their soles facing upward is for them to, I'm not exactly sure, like 100%, but it's like, you know, think about it, the soles of your feet. Feet are also ruled by Pisces. Feet are actually like really spiritual, actually. So yeah, like their feet are facing upwards, and so it's like the balance between your higher self, you know, reaching those heights, but at the same time staying rooted to the earth, so you don't just like go all over the place. Okay, so let me pull that card, and I hope I'm speaking clear enough. Sometimes like I get a lot of saliva build up in the corners of my mouth when I do this. Just because like I just keep talking, but I'm channeling so much, and sometimes if I pause for too long, I'll lose it. So I do apologize if like my speech is like not clear to you. And also, I definitely recommend listening to the singing bowl that I've mentioned at the beginning of the reading, or even picking up some phenacite crystals for yourself. It is definitely not a cheap crystal. You know, it's kind of like moldavite. It's a very like, I don't know if it's rare, but it's just like one of the more pricier ones. But phenacite is just like, it's such a powerful stone, and it's absolutely fantastic for expanding the higher mind. If you do work with phenacite, which I haven't done personally, I just like listening to the singing bowls on YouTube. But if you do pick some up, I would suggest getting another crystal to kind of counter it, to ground it. And all that information you can find online, like what would be a good pairing for phenacite. Okay, so the card we got for you guys is number 3, Anticipation, and I'm putting up on the screen now along with the description of the booklet. I recommend that you screenshot it so that way you can take it with you. And the book says, each morning when I wake up, there is a crow outside my window on the street lamp, anticipating the arrival of a meal. Perhaps I trained the crow, or maybe it was the other way around. When there is a pattern, we begin to expect a particular outcome. Anticipation brings hope and butterflies in the belly as we expect something to happen that brings joy or satisfaction. There is but one warning. Be careful of any attachments held for the desired outcome. If what you receive falls short of expectations, the feeling of joy can transform into disappointment. What are you looking forward to at this moment? How will you adjust if your expectations are not met? Okay, so I think that was a good message for you guys. Again, I really feel like it has a lot to do with grounding yourself as well. Keep your feet firmly planted on the ground, because you guys are in for one wild ride. All right. If you haven't yet already, please hit the subscribe button, tap the notifications bell, and like this video. By liking this video, you help to push it into the YouTube algorithm for other people to find. Follow my profile on Instagram at Spotless Mind Tarot. Replace the I in mind with the number 1. If you would like to book a private reading with me, my readings are available on my Etsy shop, kaleidoscopeescape.etsy.com. And you can find all of these links and all other information in the description. Also, do me a huge favor and let's drop the drop a lotus emoji if you have iPhone, or drop like the meditating emoji if for all other phones, or if you have an iPhone you can drop that too if you want, but you guys got the lotus, so use that. Drop it in the comments so that way I know you're here with me. And thank you so much for watching this video. I am very grateful for having your presence, and I will catch you in the next video. Blessings. If you picked group number 2 with the Broken Heart and the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot, this is your reading for what you need to know about your current relationship. First, we will begin the reading by taking a look at both you and your partner's energies. I'll pull one card for person A and one card for person B. This will help you to decide if you picked the right group or not, and it gives me insight into who you guys are as individuals. After that, we'll take a look at the current energies of the relationship as a whole. Then we'll look to see what needs to be brought to your attention about this relationship. At the end of the reading, I will pull an oracle card from the Urban Crow Oracle. This oracle card will serve as a guiding force or a conclusion, and it should tie all the energies together in this reading. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate your presence. And I just want to quickly say that these are audio recorded readings. I prefer to do my readings this way. I really don't like to be on camera, and this just makes it more comfortable for me. So I hope that it is good for you. And in the background, I have a phenocite singing bowl playing. I always have a singing bowl playing when I'm doing tarot readings. If you would like to listen to it for yourself, there's a link in the description below. The singing bowl, or I should say this crystal, is connected to the crown and the third eye chakra. It is all about higher consciousness and the higher mind. It is also incredibly relaxing. So if you're really into frequencies and into sound healing, I highly recommend listening or even purchasing the singing bowl for yourself. And I'm not sponsored by the link I've put in the description. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the cards, and we'll take a look at you and your partner, and then we'll quickly move into the current energies, and then later I will pull cards again for what you need to know. Also, I just want to give a quick reminder that you don't have to be in a relationship to watch these videos. This is for anyone, but there is a strong emphasis on relationships. At least if there is a significant other in your life, then this will still apply. So if you're single and there's nobody in your life, or well, I don't want to say that, okay, but like if you're single and you don't have a partner or any kind of love interest, then you may not get any messages from this, but you're more than welcome to watch anyways. And for those of you who picked this group with the broken heart, I do hope everything is okay. You don't necessarily have to have a broken heart to pick this reading. I just, for whatever reason, felt called to include that heart as one of the options to pick. Okay, so for person A, we got the High Priestess. And for person B, we got the Six of Cups. Now it's up to you to decide which person is which, either your person A or your person B. And so yeah, let's just get into it. So person A is, we have the High Priestess, and so this person could just be very highly intuitive, highly psychic. If anything, they're just very connected to their spirit. They're on the spiritual path. And they also have very deep feelings. It might be really hard for them to express them or put words to them. Like, I feel like when they express their feelings, it's very unconventional. It's not very straightforward in the sense that they don't just come out and say exactly what they're feeling. So they may do things to express their feelings in other ways, and it could be anything. I do feel this person is very highly creative. They don't have to necessarily be engaged in the arts. They could just be really creative as an individual. They could just have creative ideas and ways about going and going on about things. Sorry. And they're very in tune with their body. I feel like this person really listens to their body. They're very tapped into their feelings and into their higher mind. Somebody here that's watching person A is an occultist, or maybe they're part of a tribe, a coven, so they could be witchy. I do feel that they're part of some group, some kind of spiritual group, an occult kind of group. They're really involved in some way. I feel like this person is always seeking new knowledge. They're always looking to find new ways of discovering themselves, as well as rediscovering themselves. They know how to balance the polarities of divine feminine and divine masculine. This person is just really tuned in. They're really self-aware. So they've been on the spiritual path for quite some time now. And person B, I feel like person B may have known person A for a very long time. Perhaps you've known each other since childhood, or maybe you guys were really good friends before you got together in this relationship. If you're not together with this person, you've known them for quite some time. And if you're not in a relationship, I feel that you want to take things to the next level, or person B wants to take things to the next level. They really enjoy person's A company. So even if you don't know each other, I feel like there is like that feeling that you've known each other before. So there could be a past life connection here. I think with all relationships, there is some kind of past life connection. At least for the most part, I feel like majority of relationships are like that. Some relationships in this lifetime could just be a way of clearing karmic debt from a previous lifetime. Some people say that like the people you are in a relationship with in this lifetime, you were enemies in the past, and you're here to resolve your issues together, even if the relationship doesn't last, or even if like the relationship ends poorly. Either way, there is a past life connection. If not so much past life, there's a connection from the past. For some of you, I feel person B might be younger in the situation. If they're not younger in age, they could just be younger in spirit. I feel they too are a creative person, and I feel person B actually engages in creativity and art, maybe even like pottery. It's more hands-on kind of art, so it's beyond just like drawing and painting. It's like making things. So pottery, fashion design, even, you know, anything that requires this person to use their hands a lot. And again, they really enjoy person A's company. They really feel at home. They feel a sense of nostalgia. This person feels that person A really awakens something within them that they're not aware about. Person B is not afraid to face their own shadow, and they really look up to person A. So person A could be like a guru or a mentor to person B. I feel like person B struggles more with their feelings. They're not as balanced. They're not as self-aware. They don't really listen to their body too much, you know. Or they're just at this moment in time, maybe they're struggling with their feelings. Maybe they're struggling with how to express their feelings to person A. I'm also getting like Virgo energy, so this person could be a very giving person. They like to help others whenever they can. They like to be practical. The Six of Cups is Sun, represented by Sun in Virgo, it's represented by Sun in Scorpio. So they could be a Scorpio or have Scorpio in their chart. Person A would be, it's ruled by the moon. This card is represented by the moon. So they could be a Pisces, they could be a Cancer, or they're just, you know, the moon's also very highly intuitive, highly psychic. I feel like both of you guys share similarities. I feel like person A leads more than person B. I feel like person B really goes with the flow. They don't really have a sense of direction. They don't really have plans. They kind of just go along with whatever life gives to them. And so on one end, this is completely fine. I mean, you know, you want to live your life the way it's intended. For some people, forcing things isn't good for them, like it doesn't work out. And so this person may just be more go with the flow. On the other end, they lack direction. Maybe they don't have goals for themselves. Maybe they don't wish to seek anything bigger than them or higher than them, you know, in the sense that they're not really in it to win it. They're not very competitive. So they could be a little more passive. So there could be some issues there, like maybe they put people first more than they should. Now this is Scorpio energy though, and Scorpio's an interesting sign. You know, they're very caring. They feel very, very deep. And like once they like somebody, they like to latch on, and they hate to let go. Because they feel so deeply and intensely, they just feel like whenever they catch feelings for somebody, it's like they feel like this is the one. When really they just need to recognize that they just have a really big heart and they just feel everything so intensely. And it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, people they like are good for them. They just feel a lot, you know? And so person B does struggle with their feelings a bit. Whereas person A is a little more balanced. They too are very, feel very deeply, but I feel like person A doesn't allow their feelings to completely guide them in life. They seem to really balance their rational mind and their emotional mind. I do get like, I'm getting like a similar energy with each other. It's like you guys can finish each other's sentences. The other person knows what the other is thinking and feeling to some degree. There's a very deep intuitive connection here. Okay? Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the current energies. And for the current energies of the relationship, so this is like what you guys are going through right now as you click on this video and watch it. This is like the current issue. It could even be a current issue or situation that's been going on for some time. Overall, this is just currently what's happening, or this is at least what spirit wants to bring to your attention. And we have the Two of Swords, the Three of Pentacles, and the Queen of Wands. And so with the Two of Swords and the Three of Pentacles, when I was shuffling and laid them down, I feel like you guys try to keep things fair between each other. Like you guys split the bill. So there's some Libra energy here. You guys like to try to keep things balanced and fair. It doesn't always work. There could be some clashes at times. But overall, I do feel like you guys are, you understand your role within the relationship and you like to perform and carry out these duties. And there is a strong sense of, like you guys just work together really well. So if you're not in a relationship with this person, or maybe it's not a romantic relationship, you could just be partners, like business partners, work partners, school partners, or something like that, or just like really good friends. I do feel like some of you watching this, you guys are like friends, or it's not serious. And then for others, this is an actual like relationship. And again, in the intro, I've mentioned how it doesn't matter like what stage you are in the relationship. This reading's for anybody. But I do feel there are some people here who, if you're not together, maybe you were in the past, and maybe you're trying to work things out. Because I do see like both of you trying to work things out. I feel like you guys are both rebuilding from something. So you could be rebuilding this relationship, or maybe you're rebuilding from previous breakups. Maybe one of you just got out of a relationship more recently, like within the past year. And then the other person, I feel like maybe they haven't been in a relationship for some time. They were just more focused on themselves. I feel like person A, if anything, was the one who hasn't been in a relationship for a while, but that doesn't have to be the case. There is some issues though with the Two of Swords and like trying to keep a balance and trying to like, again, like I said, split the bill, because it doesn't always work. Or I feel like for some reason it's not fair when you guys do that. I feel like somebody here sometimes wishes that the other person would just pay the whole bill, metaphorically speaking. Like somebody wishes that the other person would just perform, or not so much perform, but just do it without expecting help from the other person. So there definitely is a relationship dynamic where one of you may be relying on the other, like, so there could be some codependency. And it's like one person doesn't really mind it too much, but they also have they understand their own sense of independence, and so sometimes they want to break away from that, keeping it fair and keeping a balance, because they also understand life isn't really fair, and as much as we strive to keep a balance, it's sometimes the scales do need to tip, because if everything was just neutral, nothing would get done. And then the Three of Pentacles is all about teamwork and getting stuff done. It's also about everyone playing their role, playing their part, taking care of their own responsibilities. And by doing that, when each person takes care of their responsibilities, things get done. So if somebody here isn't fully taking care of responsibilities, they're too codependent on the other person. And it could be in any way. It could be financially, materially, emotionally, socially. It could be anything. Now, the Queen of Wands, I feel like this is a very social relationship. So you guys could spend a lot of time with friends. And I feel like person B prefers to be more alone, which is interesting. I'm getting more introversion with person B than person A. Although, the High Priestess can be pretty introverted. But again, person A just seems to be a spiritual master in a sense. There's definitely more maturity in person A. There's more experience and wisdom in them. And so, yeah, this could be a really social relationship, or this is just a really close friendship. I feel like there's a lot of impulses. I feel like when you guys are together, you tend to do a lot of things on a whim. You don't really have plans for the day, and you kind of just go out and do whatever, which is pretty fun, don't get me wrong. But again, person B really needs structure in their life. And so I feel like by you guys being a little, there's a little too much carefree and carelessness going on, and again, it's not always bad, but there is a strong need for balance here, and also a strong need to break away from a balance. So it's pretty frustrating because, on one end, it's there needs to be a little more independence between you guys, but then on the other end, you guys do so well together, not being so independent. And there's nothing wrong with codependency as long as it's you both have something to offer, and it's not a codependency where you rely on the other person. So I feel like one person is relying on the other too much, whereas the other person doesn't mind, the company doesn't mind, again, splitting the bill, but they also would like to have a little more independence from this person. There's a serious decision that needs to be made. Somebody is really in their head. They're overthinking something. I feel like they're not sure about this relationship. I feel like they feel as if it's more social, more friendly than it is romantic. So although both person A and person B, there's a lot of feeling in them. There's a lot of romance in them, but the relationship itself, there's not a whole lot of romance. I feel like you guys are just spending too much time hanging out together, not really getting to know each other too much. And I feel like it's because you guys feel so at home with each other, almost like siblings, there's a lot of relation between you two, but there's not a whole lot of a relationship, if that makes sense. And so one or both of you guys are feeling this Two of Swords energy. Somebody needs to open up and be honest. Someone's struggling to find the right words. And someone does feel a bit trapped. But I feel like they're just trapped in their own mind. You know, and feeling trapped is an illusion. I know when we're in it, when we feel trapped, when we feel stuck, when we feel like we can't decide, like in the moment, we feel like that's definite, like that's, you know, the truth of things, but, you know, it's a state of mind. So someone's state of mind here needs to change. If not so much like needs to change, because this isn't, the current energies isn't meant to be advice. You know, maybe that's just what they feel. They feel like there's something about themselves they need to change. Also, someone just doesn't, I might have mentioned it before, but like someone feels like they're just not performing. Or maybe they feel some kind of inadequacy. Okay, I think that's it though. Like, I'm not getting too much, and I'm not getting too much from the Queen of Wands here. This could be another person. It could be a friend. I don't think it's a third party. It could be if you know it to be true. But if you're not aware of any third party, then I don't think that's the case. Because this person's pretty distant. This Queen of Wands is more, she looks to me really observant. Like she's just kind of watching from the sidelines. Like she's not, this person isn't, she or he, like they're not getting involved. It could also be somebody's mother. And so somebody's mother, maybe it's like they don't really approve or disapprove of this connection. They're kind of just letting their son or daughter figure it out for themselves. But they are supportive. But they're supportive in a sense that like they don't like to get involved too much. Like they like to let their son or daughter figure it out for themselves through experience. Queen of Wands is also highly social. Like this is like the host or the hostess. They like to plan parties. They like to plan getaways. They like to gather people. Like they take a lot of pride, and they feel really good about themselves when they can bring people together. Even if like they're not part of the group. Like they like to bring people together. And just overall, the Queen of Wands energy, like this person's just sitting back and waiting. Or they're enjoying themselves. And this is Aries energy, so I think that's where like the impulsiveness is coming from. I feel like person B's like lack of planning or lack of setting goals is carrying over into the relationship. And it's kind of throwing off person A a bit. Because they're not really used to that. I feel like person A really, really has structure in their life. And they really stick to it. Okay, so like... Sorry for that. That was my notification. So I'm going to go ahead and move into what you guys need to know. Because I think the current energies... I think I've said enough. So let me go ahead and shuffle and pull for current energies. And I do want to apologize for any background noise you hear, or even like my phone notifications going off. All the background noise I'm hearing, I don't know if it's picking up, but like it's pretty noisy. So again, like there's that whole social aspect. Maybe you guys aren't spending enough time alone. So I'll just leave that there. So let me go ahead and shuffle and pull some cards for what you need to know. Okay, so what you need to know, we got the Hierophant, Judgment, King of Pentacles, and 10 of Cups. And so with the Hierophant coming out, I do feel like there is a higher purpose for this connection. I feel like this connection is meant to align you onto your path. I feel like you guys both have similar paths. I mean, when we get into a relationship, we're obviously sharing our path with someone else, even if like theirs looks different than ours. But either way, like, I do feel like this connection was meant to happen. So if there's been any doubts about why you're together or why you're attracted or interested in this other person, I do feel like there is a higher meaning to this. There is a reason, and it does have a lot to do with your path. You guys are here to serve each other in some way. You guys are here to offer each other your own wisdom and knowledge, and it's meant to help the other person grow and expand. And I feel like person A, more than anything, is the one that's like really expanding person B. Of course, it does expand person A, but I feel like it has a bigger effect on person B because, again, like, person A has like that spiritual master kind of vibe. There might be a Pluto connection in your synastry. Pluto connection, so like maybe, or not Pluto, but Jupiter connection. So like a Jupiter Venus connection to me is almost like a guru kind of connection. Like, it's beyond just lovers and friends, which I'm thinking of that Lil Jon song and Usher, Lovers and Friends. It's like there's so much to learn in this connection. So yeah, if there's been any doubts, because of Two of Swords, there is a lot of doubts, either with one person or between both of you, and they can be different kinds of doubts, like different reasons for why you guys are feeling this way. Again, and like there could just be some like overthinking, overanalyzing. I think it's because you guys are quite like second guessing your intuition. Even for person A, like they're second guessing it because, it is hard to listen to our intuition. No matter how psychic or how in tune you are with yourself, it can be hard because oftentimes we feel something and then like what is happening, like we feel something internally and then what's happening externally isn't really matching. And so that it can create some confusion there. So rest assured that this is a connection that's meant to happen, whether you are together or whether you guys are broken up. Because I do understand like a broken heart signifies exactly what it means, a broken heart. But again, you don't have to have a broken heart to watch this. Or there doesn't have to be a disconnect between you two to watch this. But there definitely is like meaning behind this. So for some of you, there could even be a separation. But like you guys still talk because I do feel like you guys are still in contact with each other. So I don't feel like there's a separation in the sense of like you're not talking or together. There could be a separation where you're not together again, like, because I do feel like for some of you it's either the relationship isn't serious or it's not fully established. Like you guys aren't like boyfriend and girlfriend, but you guys are dating and maybe hanging out. Now with the Judgment card, this is another like karmic card. I mean, judgment it's pretty self-explanatory. It's about being judged by a higher power. It's also like what goes around comes around. It is a karmic thing. So something is waking up here. Something is going to wake up within this relationship. And it's going to vary for different people. Like it could happen tomorrow or it could happen this month. But there is going to be some kind of awakening happening between one or both of you. Like you're just going to come to a sudden realization. You're going to receive sudden insight. I'm also getting retribution for some reason. So that's really interesting. Someone could be very vengeful here. It's like someone owes an apology or owes a favor, I feel. Whether or not that's true, somebody believes that. So there's something bigger that is needing to be worked out here. And I think that's the whole point of this relationship. Like there's something bigger than you guys that needs to be worked out. So maybe in the past you were enemies, or you guys, maybe you had a lot of disagreements. Maybe you are broken up. And with that said, there is a need for forgiveness. There is a need to accept what has happened in the past. whether it's between you two or it's something completely different. But I do feel it has a lot to do with this relationship. So I think maybe somebody had did something or said something in the past, and they still haven't apologized for it, or they're not acknowledging it. And I could see why it's leading somebody to this Two of Swords, which I really feel the Two of Swords applies mostly to person A, because person B is kind of just in their own little world. If anything, person B is a little more careless. But it could have been person A that did something wrong. And because person B is so passive, they're allowing it. Like, they kind of just put up with it. So even though there is, like, meaning behind this relationship, and there is a higher purpose, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good relationship. So I'll let you guys be the judge of that, pun intended. We have the Queen, or the King of Pentacles. Now this is Virgo energy. And so if someone's a Virgo or has prominent Virgo placements, this card is representing them. They are highly dependable, and so that's where this codependency is coming in. Because I feel like one person, like I do feel like this is more strongly person A, but it can go either way. I do feel like one person is able to provide no matter what. And I think maybe that's why they like to split the bill or like share responsibilities, because they know they could do it all, but they also know like if they did do it all, then the other person may take advantage, either consciously or unconsciously. And they don't want to drain all their resources. So I feel like person A, either they have a lot to lose in the sense of like they have a lot of resources, they have a lot to offer, and they don't put it all out there on the line. So person B, because I do feel like the King of Pentacles is person A, but so let's just say the other person may not even be aware of like how much money this person actually has, or how much stuff this person has. So I do kind of feel like you guys aren't living together. And if you are, somebody's like keeping secrets about their finances. Maybe they have assets or stock, you know, like I feel like they have stuff, but it's hidden. A lot of their resources are hidden because it could just be money that's put away. A trust fund, you know, like, or maybe they come from money, they come from a family of wealth, and so like wealth is just very abundant for them. Like if they needed it, they could ask for it and easily get it. But they do work hard for what they have, and they do like to hold on to what they have. So they again, like they don't mind sharing and, you know, being in union with somebody, but they also like, they understand they're not going to just give anything away. You know, there is a strong maturity in this person. And so this could be a man or a woman. It doesn't have to be a man like that's depicted on the card. And I know not every tarot deck is associated to the signs and planets the way it is in Kabbalah. So the King of Pentacles, or Kabbalah, I always say it Kabbalah, but I think it's Kabbalah. But I also feel like it doesn't matter. Like people say it both ways. But like on the King of Pentacles, there are two bulls in the back. So they could be Taurus. Or just, you know, Taurus does represent like materialism and resources. And it is definitely a sign that doesn't struggle too much to get things. Like they easily acquire money and resources and material possession. Like they don't have to work too hard for it. It just kind of comes to them. Even if they do work hard, you know, I'm just saying like they don't have to like spend extra hours in the office to get something they want. You know, they don't have to go out of their way to get what they want. Now the 10 of Cups is pretty promising, but I do feel like there is a sense of illusion here, because the 10 of Cups is a card of like wish fulfillment and ultimate happiness and ultimate comfort, and just like everything is all good. and you guys do feel at home with each other. And that could be a struggle too. Like, you guys feel so deeply connected, but like, for whatever reason, you can't see it happen. Like, there's something in reality, in your physical reality, and it's hard for you to see what you guys feel. With the Ten of Cups coming out at the very end, I feel like whatever issues you guys are having, you can resolve them, because it is a promising card, but you also want to be very, very careful not to be too hopeful and not to have expectations, because there is some kind of illusion here. Like, you don't want to kid yourself. You don't want to be in over your head. But it is pretty promising, because like the what you need to know energies looks pretty stable. Like, I feel like once you're able to overcome the Two of Swords energy and just really embrace your own thoughts, your own intentions, and also just being like opening up about it too, like, you know, I'm getting like calling a truce, putting your swords down and just calling a truce. And I'm getting like two people, I'm getting an image of people shaking hands, and that's where this forgiveness is probably coming in with the Judgment. Like, let bygones be bygones. It doesn't excuse somebody's behavior here, because I do feel like somebody has been deceitful, deceiving, maybe not so much honest, and maybe they did hurt the other person in the past, or maybe they're ignoring the other person in some way. I do feel like it's partly unconscious, and I'm looking at person B as I say that. But it is promising though, because I do feel like you can work out your issues, whatever they may be. There's something here that you're meant to work out. So let's say the relationship itself doesn't work out, but maybe you're able to come to a conclusion with each other. Maybe you can end the relationship on good terms. And if you guys are in a separation right now, it's gonna go different ways for different people. So whatever the case, either if you are separated or if you're together, there could be a complete ending to this relationship or a complete renewal. Either way, it's going to be very, very beneficial for the both of you. So if there is an ending, it's for the better. But at the same time, like, I feel like you have to communicate something. You have to get to this resolution first. You have to find a resolution. And I'm thinking of the song Aaliyah, what's it called? The song by Aaliyah is called We Need a Resolution. And so yeah, you guys need to come together with something here. And again, like, if the relationship progresses, there is going to be a renewal. But if it ends, I feel like there's no hard feelings. Like, I feel like you guys will realize, oh, like, actually, maybe we're better off friends. And that's like really what I'm getting, because I'm not getting a whole lot of romance between you two. Regardless, you guys have deep feelings for each other. Like, I just feel like when it comes to a romantic relationship, like, it doesn't click. But like, you guys still really enjoy each other's company. And so for some of you, you could end up just being really, really good friends. But overall, I do feel like instead of vengeance and retribution, look at it as like a resolution. Instead of being hateful and spiteful, like, learn to like analyze your thoughts, why you think that. If that's you, if you feel like cynical for some reason, like, ask yourself, why do you feel so cynical? And if it's them, ask them, and ask them to analyze themselves, like, why do you feel so cynical? A lot of things can get resolved by just talking it out, and it's easier said than done. But like, and if you can't talk it out, then that should be a good sign it's time to go. And at the same time, I just feel like no matter what happens, something's going to end on a good note. I don't see anything ending or even renewing or continue on a bad note. You still want to be realistic. You don't want to idolize the relationship. And so maybe one or both of you are idolizing the relationship. That's where that illusion is coming from with the Ten of Cups. It's like, because sometimes when we're in a really good place and everything's going so well, we forget that something could happen at any moment and take everything away from us, or like completely disrupt everything. So you just want to be mindful of that. Like, you don't want to be in fear of that, or like plan for the worst. You want to understand that anything can happen. And I feel like with this reading, anything can happen. I do feel a resolution needs to be reached, and has a lot to do with being honest with yourself and being honest with each other, and just like expressing your dissatisfaction. So like, let's say you guys are like sharing, I hate to sound like a broken record, like you are sharing the bill, like maybe speak up and say, I don't mind doing it, but I don't always want to do it. Like, it'd be nice if sometimes you could pay for everything. And maybe like you're not sharing the bill equally either. That could be another thing. And again, that's like, it could be metaphorical. It doesn't have to be like literally like you guys are sharing money. It's just like, just overall. But also like the King of Pentacles person, like they tend to want to keep it all for themselves, but they know they have plenty to give away. But it could be like Capricorn energy. Like a Capricorn in love is willing to share, but like at the same time, they do like to keep things for themselves. I know this is Virgo energy, but just speaking on Earth energy in general, like maybe somebody here needs to embrace the Capricorn in them. And it's like, I know one thing about Capricorn, a very general description of Capricorn is they don't like to ask for things that aren't theirs, or it's like they don't like to ask for help because they know they can do it, even if though they don't always have to do it alone. Like they just do by nature. It's just in them. So even if you can ask for help, Capricorn probably, like most of the time they don't. They just do it themselves because they know they're capable, but that's where they burn out. And so like this King of Pentacles, like they know they're capable of giving to the other person. Maybe they're starting to burn out. Or again, like there's something here with sharing something. And it could also be like maybe there's something they don't want to share anymore. Okay, so that's basically what I'm getting in this reading. But overall, like, I do see some differences and some issues, but I do feel like they're going to get resolved. And it's going to be different for everyone how these issues do get resolved. And a lot of it just has to do with just being honest and adding some rationality to the situation. So I'm going to go ahead and pull an oracle card from the Urban Crow Oracle deck. And I love this deck because it tends to take really complex situations and simplify it. And whenever I do free card pulls, like on Twitter or on Instagram, people really enjoy the messages from the crow. Like it says enough for them. And so the Crow Oracle can serve as a conclusion to this, or it could just be like a guiding force, like what to do next, or it's just gonna like tie it all in together. I will say though, sometimes when I do pull it, it doesn't really sound like it has anything to do with the reading, but at least not to me, but for you, it may make a whole lot of sense. Okay, so let me go ahead and shuffle and pull that, and I'll put it up on the screen along with the book's description so you can screenshot it and take it with you if you like. And I will read the description for you. And if I feel like I'm getting any more messages from it, I will deliver those messages. Otherwise, the Oracle card has all the messages you need. Okay, so the Oracle card we got for you guys is number 39, Release. And in the book, it says, when the time comes when you cannot grieve anymore and it is time to let go, release is that next step. This card may come to you when you need help moving forward or accepting an ending. It is time to move on, rise up, and release yourself from the past. Release represents the transition between letting go and moving on. It is that moment when we become aware that we no longer hold on to the past or an event that cannot be altered. You may need to consider if your situation is blocked or impacted by something that needs to be released. Okay, and that's a pretty powerful message, so I'm just going to leave it at that and not add any more to it, because I think you got everything you need from this reading. Okay, so if you haven't yet already, please hit the subscribe button, tap the notifications bell, and like this video. By liking this video, you help to push it into the YouTube algorithm for other people to find. Follow my profile on Instagram at Spotless Mind Tarot. Replace the I in mind with a number 1. There's also a link below if you just want to go click on that instead. If you would like to book a private reading with me, my readings are available on my Etsy shop, kaleidoscopeescape.etsy.com. Also, do me a huge favor and drop the broken heart emoji in the comments below, so that way I know you're here with me. And thank you so much for watching this video. I am very grateful for having your presence here with me today, and I will catch you in the next video. Blessings. If you picked group number 3 with the Pixelated heart and the Easy Tarot, this is your reading for what you need to know about your current relationship. First, we will begin the reading by taking a look at both you and your partner's energies. I'll pull one card for person A and one card for person B. This will help you to decide if you pick the right group or not, and it gives me insight into who you guys are as individuals. After that, we'll look at the current energies of the relationship as a whole. Then we'll look to see what needs to be brought to your attention about this relationship. At the end of the reading, I will pull an oracle card from the Urban Crow Oracle. The oracle card will serve as a guiding force or a conclusion, and it should tie all the energies together in this reading. And before we start, I just want to say that this is an audio recorded reading. This is my preferred method of doing tarot readings. I personally do not like to be on camera. Even if you can't see me, I'm not really a camera person, regardless of how many selfies I got, which I don't really like to post either, but just want to say that this is audio recorded, so I hope that is good for you. And in the background, I have playing a phenocite singing bowl. Every time I do a reading, I usually have a singing bowl playing, and this just helps to tune into frequencies. And especially with phenocite, this has to do with the higher mind and higher consciousness. It is connected to the crown and third eye chakra, more predominantly with the third eye. So it's all about spiritual awakening. And it's also just like a very, very calming and soothing sound. So if you're interested in that, there is a link below. You can go listen for yourself. And so I already have person A and person B pulled. So let's just go ahead and look at you two and see what's going on with you guys as individuals. And it's up to you to decide who is who. It's up for you to decide if you're person A or if you're person B. And then I will pull cards for the current energies. We'll see what's going on between you two. And then we'll progress and look at what you need to know about the relationship. And so it could either be advice, like maybe there's something you guys need to resolve, or it could just be like something that needs to be brought to your attention. Okay, so with person A, we have the Tower in reverse, and for person B, we have Six of Wands in reverse. Again, this is just what's representing both you guys as individuals with where you are right now. So it's not like definite, it's not like the ultimate explanation of you guys. It's just where you see yourselves, how you see yourselves, and what spirit wants me to know about you guys. And so person A is definitely going through a Tower moment, and they're struggling with it because the Tower is in reverse. And so that usually just means there's a strong resistance to change. They're having a really hard time holding on when they're not supposed to. Like, the Tower is meant to come in and give way and break way and to destroy things that are no longer serving a purpose. And so person A is really struggling here with whatever they got going on. It's really hard for them to accept something. And because we are looking at individuals, like looking at you guys as individuals, this may or may not have anything to do with your guys' relationship. I do feel for person A, it's somewhat work related. It could have to do with like a position at a job, or like I feel like they worked really hard for a position, or they just work really hard in general and a new position opened up and they didn't get it. Or maybe they asked for a promotion, they didn't get it. They asked for a raise and didn't get it. And so it's like really disrupting like everything for them. Like they're if that's not the case, like overall, like I just feel like it's the end of the world for some reason. Like they're just really unstable and unbalanced within themselves. And I feel like they're just resisting. Like they know this is for the better, but they're just having a really hard time seeing that. They're having a really hard time accepting that. And so they're just going through their own personal difficulties right now. The Six of Wands in reverse for person B. This person is going through something similar, but it is not a tower moment. It is not as destructive. It is not as life-changing for them. I feel like whatever person A is going through, it is affecting person B. It doesn't have to be the case, though. They just have a lot of fear. I feel like their pride has been hurt. Whether or not it's from person A, it could be something else entirely. They're just really struggling here. There could be some jealousy. I don't think it's towards person A, though. I kind of feel like, though, you guys are both affecting each other with whatever you guys got going on, but I feel like, especially with this reading and these two cards, like, you guys have different struggles for different reasons. I feel like person B is really trying to hide it because they see what person A is going through and they don't want to add to the fire. Like, they don't want them to worry about person B. Like, person B's like, whatever I'm going through, it's not as bad as person A. And so they're holding back. Like, person A might be aware of it, but like they don't know the full extent of what person B is going through. Person B has some pride here, either like pride issues, or if it's not, like, you know, there's some egotism. So it doesn't have to be like a bad thing. Like, ego isn't always a bad. We need our ego. It is masculine energy. Like, we need that. But, you know, there's a difference between healthy ego and toxic ego. Toxic ego is thinking you're better than everyone, and healthy ego is knowing that, like, you're better, but, like, I want to say, like, you know, you're better than everyone in a sense that, like, you don't need their approval. You know what I mean? Like we're all better in our own way. They know that, like, everyone is at their own level. Everyone has their own successes. And it's just really, a healthy ego is more about just being really confident, regardless of what other people got going on. But I feel like there is something here that has hurt their ego, has hurt their pride, and they're fighting really hard not to let it overcome them. Like, because I feel like they know better, and they're telling themselves, like, I know better. Like, I know what was said to me or what was done to me, like, isn't a reflection of me. But, like, they're still taking it to heart. But I feel like they're doing a really, really good job fighting back. But I do have some concern here because, like, I don't want person B to repress it and suppress it to the point where they're in denial. So, and I think person B understands that too. Like, they're trying to remind themselves, like, I'm not in denial about it. I just don't want it to affect me. And so there is a bit of healthy ego going on, but there is an issue that they're dealing with. There could also be something going on with person B in the sense of, like, they could have gained some kind of success. Like, for an example, let's say, like, they got a position, they got a raise, and they're not telling person B. Like, there's some kind of accomplishment B is experiencing right now. It could be externally or internally, and they're just not sharing it with person A because they're being really mindful. they're trying not to step on their toes. They're not trying to outshine person A, but person B is definitely experiencing some kind of success here, and they're just kind of they're being really humble about it. At the same time, there's something that they're displeased about. So at the same time, like, they're, because it is in reverse, like, they're still like pretty bitter about something, and they are still going through something. And maybe that's like the problem, like they have some kind of success happening, but at the same time, like, maybe it's not exactly what they wanted. And so they too are having a hard time accepting something. Or maybe they're having a hard time accepting the success. Like, maybe they feel undeserving in some way. I just feel like they're being overly humble. And they're actually being prideful by not being prideful. If you understand what that means. Okay, so let me go ahead and look at the current energies of you guys. Okay, so real quick too, I haven't used this tarot deck in quite some time. This tarot deck was actually gifted to me by a friend of mine, and it has helped me kickstart my tarot readings again. I did tarot readings in my teen years, and then like things just got like real crazy, like weird, like strange phenomenon kept happening, and I felt really alone in it, so I gave up everything and I actually tossed out my tarot deck. And I haven't engaged in tarot for like 10 years or something, or I don't know how long, over 5 years before I picked it back up again. And it was thanks to my friend who sent me this deck that helped me rebuild my passion and my tarot reading capability. So if you pick this deck, yeah, it's so cool to have you here, and I'm so glad you picked it, because again, like, I haven't used it in quite some time. So these energies you're going to receive are pretty fresh, because this is a deck I rarely use. So we have the 9 of Pentacles, 7 of Swords, the Star, and 4 of Cups. And so the 9 of Pentacles is telling me that things are going pretty well between you two. The relationship as a whole is going pretty well. I feel like you guys have done, have accomplished a lot within the relationship. You could have been together for quite some time now. If not, there is like just some kind of sense of maturity here. You guys do feel really fulfilled by each other. Like, you guys are just really happy with each other. You guys feel very safe and secure. And I feel like you both are pretty independent people. And so you guys, you know, you take care of your own issues and your own problems. And I think that's another reason why person B is not like really revealing too much to person A at this time, because like they also don't need person A's validation, but they also like really care about person A's feelings. But like overall, like I feel the relationship is going pretty well, at least based on the current energies. We do have the 7 of Swords though, and so, you know, this is sneaky energy. But I do feel like the sneaky energy is just like how I explained, how like person B is just not sharing something with person A because they see person A struggling and they just don't want to like make them feel worse because they're okay compared to person A. And so I feel like there's some kind of sneaky activity happening. I don't see it as like cheating or anything like that. It's just like, it's like they're hiding their happiness, like they're you know, it's sneaky because like the 7 of Swords, it's about sneaking in and taking something and getting away with it. So there's some kind of element here with that. So you want to be careful, because I'm also feeling like somebody is, maybe they're taking money out of savings. If you guys have a joint savings account, I feel like that could be the case maybe for like one person watching this, because that's very specific. Or like maybe somebody's investing into something and they're not telling the other person. There's definitely like something here though where somebody or both of you are doing something and not telling the other person. To some degree, I feel like it's a surprise, or there's like a fear of like concern. There's a fear of interference from the other. There's a fear like if I tell this person, they're going to tell me to stop immediately, but I know what I'm doing. That's what I'm getting. And the star card's out, and so they're very hopeful about this. Like they feel like I'm also getting like party planning. Like, so I'm getting like somebody's like planning a secret party. So that could even be it too. Like, you know, somebody could just be planning something for the other person. They don't want them to find out. The star card is also like a manifestation card. It is also like a wish fulfillment. It does have a lot to do with like astrological timing, and as well as like alchemizing. It's all about mixing the past and the future. But I get a sense that like there's something being done in secrecy, but it's like it's for the good, but there is like some kind of fear about it. Like I don't like the sneaky energy. I don't see it as like they're being hurtful or deceitful or conniving. Like they're just they're doing something good here, and they just, it's not time to reveal whatever that is. So again, it's like party planning, you know, or like someone's birthday's coming up and they're planning the secret party for them, like, and they have no idea. Like maybe like they're able to get like family and friends from out of town to come in, and this other person has no idea. So like that could be it, or that could just be like a metaphor for what it is that's happening. Now the Four of Cups is interesting. Because someone's being like really passive. Someone is like, maybe someone's offering a helping hand and the other person's just like, no, I got it. I'm okay. I'm fine. Or like maybe like this sneaky energy isn't sneaky, but like the other person's just like, they're not paying attention. So somebody's not paying attention to something. They feel comfortable with where they are to some degree. And this has a lot to do with just the relationship. So it's not like so much as individuals. Like somebody is just really comfortable with where things are, but like something new is being offered to them. Something extra is being offered, and they're like, no, my cups are full. Or they're like, I also feel like there could have been an invitation and they're just like, they're not making a decision. So somebody's not making a decision. Or somebody asked for something and now they don't want it. Or like something like that, you know, like there's help being offered, there's something being offered, and they're just looking at it like they're like, yeah, like, or maybe they're just, they don't want help. Like they feel like they got it. Like they're too prideful to accept this help. And you know, the Nine of Pentacles is also like confirmation that like everything feels fine. Like they feel like they have everything they need in the relationship, and something is coming in and something's being offered. Like there's more being offered and they're just like, no, I'm full. But maybe they're just saying that, you know, like they're not exactly full. Like, you know, they're just really content. Maybe even stubborn. Like the Four of Cups, it's like I'm getting like, isn't this what you wanted? And the other person's just like, yeah, but no, you know, or like, not really, but like they're lying to themselves. So like someone's just not like being honest with themselves. Someone could also just like, it's right in front of them, they're just not seeing it. So maybe I feel like maybe person B does try to help person A, but person A, because it's in reverse, the tower is in reverse, like they're just they're not accepting what person B has to offer. They're like, no, I got it. Like, even though like they're a total wreck, they're still like, I got it. It reminds me of that meme. I don't know what cartoon it's from or what the creature character is, but it's like, I know you've seen it. I mean, if you haven't, I'm sorry, but like, it's like a dog or something sitting in like a burning restaurant. He's like sitting at a table, and you just see all this stuff like burning around him, and then it zooms in on him, and he takes a sip of his cup, his drink, and he's like, everything's fine, or I'm fine, or something like that. Like, but it's really not. Like, the whole place is on fire, and they're just being really passive about it. Like, that's the energy I'm getting. I feel like that's person A. Like they know everything's not fine, but they're trying really hard. So there is like pride between the both of you here. I feel like someone's also being too hopeful. You want to be careful putting all your eggs into one basket here. With the star, I feel like, although it is a great card for like manifesting and alchemizing, and like I'm also getting like tying up loose ends. Like, you want to be careful not to overfill your cup here. You don't want to overdo it. And I'm getting like, it's like overwatering plants because you love them. You think you need them. Like, I know plants need sunlight and water. Here's some more water. And then you end up killing the plant because you overwatered it. So that's another thing too. Like, be careful of being overly giving or overly, you know, like, you don't want to smother the other person. So just be careful with that. Pour enough for yourselves. Pour enough for the both of you. You don't need a full glass of wine. You know, pour enough. You'll get your little tipsy, you know, you'll get what you need from that glass of wine. You don't need a full glass. You know, metaphorically speaking. Okay, it's interesting because like I feel like this reading is very straight to the point. Whereas like I've done 2 other readings so far and they're a little complicated. But like this one is just like, it is what it is. This is what it is, and here it is. It's being presented to you. And I think that's what's great about this deck, because it's like there's no confusion because I hardly use it, so there's not too much energy attached to it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and look at what you need to know. And as well, when I do that, I do tie in the rest of the reading together. So like whatever you guys are going through currently, it will tie into what you need to know. The what you need to know part could be like a conclusion to this, or it's just like something that needs to be brought to your attention. It usually does have a lot to do with the current energies and what you guys are going through as individuals. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle and we'll see what we get. Okay, so for what you need to know, we have Judgment in reverse, King of Wands, 8 of Swords, and Queen of Wands. And so it's interesting to see the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands. So I do feel like this is representing the both of you, and how you see yourselves in these cards is up to you. So either you're the king or you're the queen, regardless of gender or whatever you identify as. It's just masculine and feminine energy. But to start with the Judgment in reverse, I feel like somebody is doing a disservice. I feel like person B is doing a disservice by keeping secrets, hiding something from person A, even if the secret or what they're hiding isn't a bad thing. Now, if you are planning like a secret party, then of course you don't want to tell them. You know, even if it's not a party, but it's something of that nature where you're planning something that you don't want them to know because it's a surprise, like that's fine. But like, you know, for person like B, for example, like I feel like they've have some successes and they're hiding it because they don't want person A to feel bad. But I feel like you're by doing that, you're really just casting judgment. And you're doing a disservice by not sharing the good news with them. So maybe at first it might be hard for them to accept it. Maybe they might feel some resentment, like, oh, like, why are they completely unscathed and I'm just going through hell over here? But I think eventually, if that's like their first reaction, I feel like eventually they'll come around, because if you're able to share your good positive energy with them, I mean, it's only gonna be contagious, and it's only gonna grow into something more. Of course, unless they're just naturally like a negative Nancy. But even if they are, like, you want to, person B needs to share this with them. They need to share something with them, even if it's like advice or just, it could literally be anything. But they are casting judgment, and they are like doing something out of fear. They're doing something because they just don't want the other person to feel bad. But I feel like person A is picking up on it, and they're thinking like there's something else going on. You know, make, even if it's just like a subtle thing, or they just think about it like one time, it could just be energetically like they know something's off. I mean, this is your partner, and so like I think we can sense when our partners are hiding something from us, even if it's good. It doesn't matter. Like, you just know somebody's hiding something. And it could even just be like, you know, the other person is just going through a lot, and whatever they're hiding is just their own thoughts and feelings. And like, to a degree, that's okay, because like we have our own issues we have to deal with. But at the same time, like, something needs to be shared between you two. So even if it's not person B doing this and it's person A, I think like something needs to come out. A secret, a fact, even just a word of advice. It needs to come out. Now, the King of Wands. The King of Wands is represented by Sagittarius energy. This person is really, really devoted. They're very passionate. They are experienced. I mean, all the kings are very, and the queens, they're all experienced in their own ways. The king tends to be more experienced outwardly. This person has a grand vision for themselves and for this relationship. They think very highly of this relationship. It's very fulfilling. You know, I am getting like Aries energy from that, which is the Queen of Wands is Aries energy. So you guys could either have these signs predominant in your own birth chart, or it's just like that's what's being embodied here. And Sagittarius can be really giving and forgiving. They can be a bit sneaky though, and so maybe that's where the sneakiness is coming from. It's coming from the Sag energy. You know, just because like they're pretty independent people. They're pretty free-spirited. They're free thinkers. You know, they say Sagittarius doesn't like to be tied down. They usually have a lot of situationships. You know, that's just like the energy. It's not always true. There are plenty of Sagittariuses who are fully committed to one person. You know, but just overall, like, their spirit is just free. They're just free-spirited, regardless of where they stand in a relationship. But this is a very committed relationship. They are very, very satisfied. They get a lot of excitement from the other person. Like, the other person really, really excites them. Like, I feel like the other person, like, surprises them. Like, they're always so surprised by, like, the other person's, like, strength and wisdom and, like, confidence. Like, they really get off on the other person's confidence. Sag energy is pretty confident. You know, it's a very optimistic sign. Like, all the Sages I know, like, are, even if, like, they have, like, a watery moon sign, they're still, like, they're very confident people. They're very, very sure of themselves. They know what they want, and they don't beat around the bush. Very straightforward. But I do feel like the King of Wands is just, like, really, really satisfied with the relationship. And the direction that the King of Wands is looking, they're looking at the Judgment in reverse. And so maybe it's this King energy that needs to be more upfront and honest. And I do kind of relate it to the person B. It doesn't have to be the case, but I'm for the sake of this reading, I'm going to connect it to person B. And so, you know, they're looking at the judgment. They're really thinking about it. I feel like they're going to have to get off their throne in order to do this. Let go of judgment. Let go of a fear of, like, not sharing your success with the other person because the other person's going through it. I feel like the other person, they need to hear it. And he's looking the other way. And then next to him on the right is the 8 of Swords. And this has a lot to do with being trapped in your mind. And so I feel like they are moving away from this trapped energy. They are starting to get out of their mind more. They're starting to be more positive about what's happening. They're also avoiding that victim mentality, which is very unlike Sag to feel like a victim anyways. But the 8 of Swords on its own, there are some issues that need to be brought to the surface. You need to take the blindfolds off. You need to, like, and so it's very victim mentality, 8 of Swords. It's mental prison. It's putting yourself in your own prison, whether or not you're conscious of that. And so something does need to be freed here. And I really do feel it has a lot to relate to the Judgment in reverse. It's like Judgment in reverse to me is like the Tower in reverse. Like, they mean the same thing as the upright position, but there's like a resistance. Although I would say the Judgment can have a bit more negative connotations. But in this reading, it's more like just being upfront and honest, and not casting judgment because of how you see things. Like, understanding that how you see things isn't how your partner sees things. And I think it's impossible for anyone to see things the way you do, no matter how much you see things similarly. Like, they're not you. So they do not think like you. And so it's like getting out of your own way, basically. So I feel like the King of Wands is needing to, or going to, or is realizing they need to get out of their own way. And the King of Wands doesn't have to be related to the person B. You know, this is who I'm relating it to the most. But it can go for anybody. Now, the Queen of Wands. Again, this is Aries energy. This person is very social. They're very, they have a fiery spirit, and that's what the King of Wands likes. So even if you guys don't have any fire in your chart, the relationship is just very fiery and fierce. There's a lot of excitement. It's like there's something new every day, or there's something new to learn every day. Or like, even if you've been together for a very long time, it's like, I still feel like you guys still find excitement. Like, the honeymoon phase is never going to end between you two. Even when things are kind of like boring, or like nothing's going on, like the fire is never going to go out. That's just like what I'm getting from this. And so it's really hopeful. Like, I feel like what you need to know is a very hopeful message that, like, no matter what it is you guys are currently going through, it's not to say that it doesn't matter, but I feel like the relationship you have with each other is enough to see how, like, some of the things we're worried about really ain't shit. Like, it's really, at the end of the day, like, it's temporary. What you guys are going through is very temporary. The Tower is a very temporary thing. Even if it lasts for a couple years, it's not gonna last forever. And neither will the success that the person B has obtained. It's not going to last forever, so why not share it? Why not celebrate it? You know, don't be the 7 of Swords. Don't be sneaking around for fear of hurting the other person, because that's just being dishonest. And being dishonest can hurt somebody more than being fully honest. You know, the truth hurts, but the truth sets us free. And so I think that's like the lesson here, or something to really acknowledge and embrace and realize, like, yeah, I don't want to hurt them, but I'm actually doing a disservice by not being open and honest and truthful, even if that truth isn't something deceitful or anything, and they're doing it as a form of protection. And the Queen of Wands is pretty honest already. I mean, it's Aries. They're honest people. I mean, they say it like it is. They don't always mean what they say. So there's a lot of impulse here with Aries, with the Queen of Wands. She can be pretty impulsive. But like, so sometimes they say things they don't really mean. They're just saying it. It's kind of like telling a joke, like stand-up comedians or something. Like they don't really mean it, but like they're thinking it, you know? Like that's what I'm getting. It's very playful. The Queen of Wands is very, very playful. And the King of Wands really, really loves that. Like, I'm really admiring this reading here and this relationship you guys are in. Like, and it feels good. And it is fierce. It is like really exciting. Like, and I think other people really enjoy that. Like, other people really enjoy being around you too. And so maybe you guys do need to plan a party. Maybe you guys do need to get together with friends and family. Maybe you need to travel. Maybe you just need to leave the city, leave the state for a while. Get out of your comfort zone for a little bit. Like, maybe you need to go out. Maybe it's been a long time since you guys have gone out on a date. You guys have been so tied up with work and responsibilities. Maybe it's time to have some fun. I don't know if there's kids involved, and I don't know why I'm being called to say that. Like, I feel like there's no kids between you two. Maybe you guys want to start a family and you're just waiting for the right time. So if it is something you've been thinking about lately, maybe bring it up in conversation. Or even if you already have kids and you guys know you want more, maybe it's something to talk about. But I would kind of wait, because I feel like that's a later kind of message. It's like an after the fact. I feel like after someone, it's just straightforward. Like after person B, it's just like, yeah, I got a promotion at work. I didn't want to tell you because you didn't get your promotion at work, and I didn't want you to feel bad. You know, maybe it might help person A feel better, and maybe they're probably going to be more inclined. Okay, well, maybe they wanted that promotion because they want to expand the family or start a family, and they feel like that promotion that money that they could have got, that extra money would have helped a lot. And they don't realize that person B's got it. And so like that extra money's coming in anyways. I also kind of feel like person B, and it could just be temporary, but I feel like they want a career change, and maybe they're just being dramatic about it because they didn't get exactly what they wanted. But it doesn't have to be the case. I do feel like career is like important to both of you, so you guys could just be really successful. Somebody here could be a teacher or like a professor or like a trainer, you know, like they teach others in some way. Maybe they give presentations, you know. Maybe they're a leader of their team that they work with. There is some kind of like teacher aspect happening. But yeah, like baby making, family planning is like a thing coming up, but I feel like maybe that will be like a result of this in some way. Or a pet even. It doesn't have to be kids. It could be a pet. I also do feel like you guys need to get away. You guys, even if it's just a date, you guys don't have to travel or anything. It's just, you need to go out more. So if you haven't been going out lately, I think that could really help, especially person A, because person A is just, they really are struggling here. And it's like they're in their own way. They can't get out of their own way because they could just be tying their success with what they're conditioned to believe to be successful. And so they need to get out of their own way and realize it's not as deep or as what they think it to be. Okay, I'm gonna end the reading here because I feel like it came through, and this reading was actually a little bit shorter than the others. That's not a bad thing. I just, you know, and that could just be like the energy of things. Like whatever you guys are going through individually is very short-lived. And overall, the relationship looks really good. Like, the fire is still lit, and I don't see it going out anytime soon. But both of you guys need to get out of your own ways. And it's different for both of you because, again, you're going through different situations here. And I feel like person B could really uplift person A. And by doing that, I feel like the tower in reverse will just turn into just the tower. And then they're going to be more optimistic about what's happening. They're going to be more optimistic about how things aren't going the way they hoped for or planned for, no matter how hard they worked, because they understand that there's a reason why they're being denied this. Because they're going to see that something better, there's something else for them. This is what they thought they wanted, and they need to come to the realization that it's not going to benefit them. Whatever they thought was going to, it's really not. It's not for you. But don't look at all like the hard work you've put in or person A has put in as a waste, because I do believe that, you know, what goes around comes around. And I'll just give a personal example. I used to do photography, and I used to photograph floral arrangements for a local flower shop. And I did that for like a couple of years, and then they switched management. And then shortly after, even, I stopped doing photography. So I don't do photography professionally anymore. And so yeah, I learned how to do product photography and all that. And I don't think I ever saw it as like a waste or anything. It was just like a one-time thing I did. And it wasn't until a couple years recently, like a year or two ago, I opened up my own small business, and I make and sell handmade jewelry. And my product photography skills have come into a full circle, because now here I am taking product photos for my own creations. And I feel like if it wasn't for that little bit of experience I got years ago, like this was many years ago, I don't know, I'm sure I would have figured it out, but I feel like somehow learning that skill years ago is beneficial to now using it for my own benefit. And so whatever person A or even person B, whatever you guys have worked really hard on and it didn't work out, I promise you it's going to come to a full circle later on. Even if it's years down the line, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not for nothing. I don't think anything is for nothing. Sometimes there's a delay. Okay, so I'm going to end the reading here. And I'm going to pull an oracle card from the Urban Crow Oracle deck. And this card is basically, it could be a conclusion if you see it as that, but it's just going to like tie everything in together. It's like one final message. I'm not going to interpretate the card. I feel like oracle cards do enough interpretation on their own. It's not like a tarot card where there's like all these different meanings. Oracle cards are pretty like, this is the way it is. This is what you see is what you get. And so I really like the Urban Crow Oracle because it tends to take really complex situations and simplify it for you. And so whatever is complex for you guys, this card can really help. And so I will put it up on the screen along with the books on the booklet's description. So I do recommend taking a screenshot so that way you have it with you. And so I'm going to shuffle and pull that card, and we'll see what we get. Okay, so we got the card, the Oracle card number 4, Balance. And in the book it says, have you ever noticed how even on windy days, crows and other birds can stay perfectly positioned on a thin telephone wire? They seem almost unfazed or unbothered by the wind. When we are in balance, we meet external forces with our internal strength, giving each space to exist in harmony. When balance appears, you may need to call upon your inner strength, as an approaching situation may test your ability to stay cool and composed. Just like the wind, it too will make its presence known and then move along. Balance may also appear when your daily schedule could use some reorganizing. Are you creating time for yourself, or is your day consumed with tasks that drain your energy? Okay, so that concludes this reading. If you haven't yet already, please hit the subscribe button, tap the notifications bell, and like this video. By liking this video, you help to push it into the YouTube algorithm for other people to find. Follow my profile on Instagram at Spotless Mind Tarot. Replace the I in mind with the number 1. I will also have a link for that in the description. If you would like to book a private reading with me, my readings are available on my Etsy shop, kaleidoscopeescape.etsy.com. Also, do me a huge favor and drop one of the flower emojis. Pick your favorite flower and drop it in the comments below so that way I know you're here with me. And thank you so much for watching this video. I am very grateful for having your presence with me here today, and I will catch you in the next video. Blessings. If you pick group number 4 with the strawberry heart and the Albano-Waite tarot deck, this is your reading for what you need to know about your current relationship. First, we will begin the reading by taking a look at both you and your partner's energies. I'll pull one card for person A and one card for person B. This will help you to decide if you picked the right group or not, and it gives me insight into who you guys are as individuals. After that, we'll take a look at the current energies of the relationship as a whole. Then we'll look to see what needs to be brought to your attention about this relationship. At the end of the reading, I will pull an oracle card from the Urban Crow Oracle deck. The oracle card will serve as a guiding force or a conclusion, and it should tie all the energies together in this reading. Keep in mind that this reading is timeless, so you can watch it at any time. If you come across this reading a year after it's been posted, it's still relevant to you. It's going to be relevant whenever you click on this video and watch it. Also, I have a singing bowl playing in the background. I always have a singing bowl playing when I'm doing tarot readings. I feel it really helps to gather and ground the energy. And today's singing bowl is a phenacite alchemy crystal singing bowl. I left a link in the description for you guys if you want to listen to it for yourself. Phenacite is a very, very powerful crystal, and it is very underrated. I feel not many people know much about it. It is connected to the crown and the third eye chakra, and it really opens and expands our consciousness. And it's also very, very healing and like probably one of the most relaxing singing bowls you will ever hear. Okay, so this is a audio recorded reading, as are all my videos. Are all audio recorded. This is how I perform tarot readings. I don't like to be on camera, and I don't like to do them on camera, mainly because I feel it throws me off. And also I tend to take long pauses, which sometimes I do keep in the audio. Other times I do pause and sit with whatever reading I'm reading at the time and then resume. And so instead of recording a video and sitting there for a long time, it's just easier to just record audio. Okay, and so I hope this reading finds you well, and I'm going to shuffle the cards and we will begin the reading. Okay, so for person A, we got the 10 of Pentacles, and for person B, we have the 5 of Wands. So person A, this could be you, or it could be your partner or your person of interest. I feel this person has, first of all, I just want to say both of you guys have conflict. The conflict is very different though. So for person A, the conflict is very internal. However, I feel like what it is they're going through internally is something that's like they've always gone through this. It's nothing new to them. It's not their first rodeo. I feel this is something they've carried with them throughout their entire life. And perhaps they've reached a point in their life where they can no longer hide from it or be oblivious to it. So there could be something going on within them that they're starting to realize that they haven't seen clearly before. So again, it's something that they've lived with their entire life. It could even be something from childhood, like some childhood trauma that maybe they glossed over or they forgot about, or they just never really returned to or never really questioned. Maybe they thought it was completely normal, and then they're realizing now that like this isn't normal. And I feel like whatever it is, they're starting to identify it as something separate from them, or they're starting to see it as something they no longer want to define them. Whether or not this is something that's obvious to others, it's something that, again, it's very internal. So if you're not person A, and it's your person of interest or your partner, this is something that you're not going to just see right away. You might be aware of it if you've been together for a long time, or maybe you've even sensed it in this person, but it could be some kind of internal conflict that they may or may not reveal to you. We'll have to see as we progress in the reading. But for now, I'm just looking at you guys as individuals. So person A could also come from wealth, or come from, I don't know why, but I'm being called to say royalty, or like nobility. Maybe their ancestors come from nobility, which is actually pretty common. I mean, if you have European ancestry, you likely have royalty within your DNA, but that's just the vibe I'm getting. So even if that's not the case, I feel they just kind of come from a family like that, where family tradition is very important. I think tradition in general is very important, and that could be what is happening with them internally. There could be something within the family dynamics that they've carried their whole life that they don't really identify with anymore, or at all, like ever, and so there is like a sense of alienation. So they could be feeling really alienated within their family. So even if it's nothing like I just said, maybe just overall they just feel alienated, like they don't feel like they belong, or they feel like they're misheard. There's also something about being misrepresented. I'm not sure what that's about. This is Mercury in Virgo energy, so person A could have Mercury in Virgo, or I would even say like Mercury in the 6th house. But Mercury in Virgo is the energy. They don't have to have this in their chart, or you don't have to have this in your chart. This is just the energy. So we do have Mercury retrograde, which I don't know the exact day it kicked off, but I'm pretty sure it started this month. So Mercury retrograde in Virgo could also be something that is bringing this to the surface for them. Again, if you're watching this at a later time, this is being posted in September 2023. Mercury may not be in retrograde right now. So if you are watching it later, maybe think back to September 2023 and think about what it is that came up. There could be an event that triggers something within you or within this person related to this retrograde. So it's kind of interesting how this card came out. Now, person B, they have very external conflict. For them, they're very competitive, and it could be a natural thing. So they could be a fire sign, or they just have strong Mars placement, like they're just naturally competitive. It could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. It really depends. Person B, I feel, is more outwardly expressive. They're more extroverted compared to person A, who's more introverted. I feel like person A doesn't like conflict, so there could be some Libra energy there. Person B isn't afraid to speak out and speak up, at least generally speaking, right? They're not afraid to say it like it is, and maybe they can be a bit irrational, or maybe they could be a bit like they don't think before they speak, or they don't really realize the impact of their words. Overall, as an individual, their conflict seems to be more of a competitive thing right now. So it's a complete opposite of person A, but you guys are both going through some kind of conflict personally, and it has nothing to do with each other. Again, person A has a lot to do with something related to the family and to the home, or to like tradition. Person B with the 5 of Wands has, this is Saturn and Leo energy. So you or this person could have that placement, which would pit you guys at an older age, or at least it pits person B at an older age. So person B could be older than person A, or perhaps there's a little bit more maturity in them, or they could just be more of a leader in the relationship. Maybe they lead the relationship more than person A. I feel like they overextend themselves. I feel like they take on way more than they really need to. I feel like they see everything as a challenge. So there's a lot of like Mars here. A lot of Mars energy going on here. So even that could even be Aries or even Scorpio. Okay, I don't know why I said with Saturn and Leo, this person could be older, because I don't know, I was thinking of Pluto and Leo, which could still apply. But Pluto and Leo generation goes way, way, way back. So this is like the boomers, you know, this is their generation. Actually, I'm wrong about that. Pluto and Leo is like the 60s. So there, I don't know why that's important. So if you are older, or if you're born in the 60s or before the 60s, maybe something happened in the 60s that gave you this kind of, or gave this person that kind of like competitive spirit, competitive nature. Perhaps they really had to, oh, I'm completely, yeah, is it the 60s? Oh my god. I'm so sorry. Okay, so that's interesting how I'm like mixing things up. So this person could really mix up things. No, I'm right. I'm sorry. Okay, let's scratch that. 60s is about right. So this person could also be somebody that gets really tied up and really mixed up. They get really like, they get really overwhelmed. I feel like when they get really overwhelmed, they try to do more, and it just makes it worse. Like they feel somehow if I do more, it's going to fix it, but it doesn't. It just like, it causes more conflict. It's like they keep dragging it on past its expiration date. They could even stay in situations longer than they need to. Now, what I'm saying about person A and person B aren't definite. This is just what's happening currently. So, like, this may not completely define you guys as individuals as a whole. This is just what you guys are experiencing right now as individuals, which I think is really important to understand if you want to understand the relationship as a whole, because as individuals, you guys bring in energy together, and that's what creates the relationship. It you know, it takes two to tango, and so it's important to really self-identify with yourself and to identify the other as themselves, as an individual, and it could help you understand your relationship that much more. Overall, I will say I do feel that both of you guys are in it for the long run. At least that's what you are hoping for. You guys don't like to mess around. You don't like to beat around the bush. You want to have the long-term commitment. So for those of you who picked this reading, If it doesn't resonate, I highly recommend you check out a different group, another group that may have struck you or caught your attention. But overall, if this resonates, then stick around. This is for you guys. Okay, I'm not really picking anything else up. I think Spirit wants me to move forward because I do have the current energies of the relationship already pulled for you guys. I haven't pulled out what you need to know about the relationship, like what it is, like the conclusion basically of the reading. And so I have the current energies, and it's a bit interesting. So the first card we have is the Nine of Swords in reverse, the Ace of Swords, and the Chariot in reverse. When I pulled the Nine of Swords, it fell out onto the floor, and when I flipped it over and put it down, I immediately thought somebody's not telling the truth. Somebody's lying. Somebody is beating around the bush. Even though I did say, like, you guys are in this for the long term, like, you don't want to play games. If anything, you guys are very mature. You could be older, or if you guys are younger, you just, you know what you want already out of life, at least in your current stage of life. Like, you're not the type to want to date or mess around or anything. Like, you just, it's almost like you want to get it done and over with. But it's like, yeah, like you want to get the date, like the, what do they call it? The talking stages. Like, you want to get it done and over with already. Like, you're not in it for that. Like, you don't like that kind of stuff. You like to go with what feels natural. But with the Nine of Swords in reverse, yeah, I immediately just thought, like, somebody's lying, or they're just not being honest. And it's not that they're not being honest with themselves, they're not being honest to the other person. And then the Ace of Swords came out after that, and for me, that really confirmed it even some more. And then the Chariot in reverse, it's showing me that nothing's getting anywhere. Like, nobody's going anywhere with this, because there's a lot of dishonesty. Now, whatever it is that you guys aren't being honest about, it could be something really minor or something really major. It could be something like very negative, or it could just be something like just like not being honest about the way you feel, which can be negative, but like it's just like, maybe, for example, I don't know, like, I just feel like you guys are just not being honest with each other, and it's creating this conflict, and like neither of you want to admit it. I feel like both of you are holding on to your pride and to your ego, and it could be a conditioning. It could just be a fear of failure, or a fear of the other person walking out, or the other person not understanding. The Chariot in reverse, I feel like someone's running in circles. I feel like the relationship is going in a loop. Like, you guys keep ending up back at the same position. Like, I feel you guys do work things out, you do talk things out, but a couple weeks later, a month or so later, you're right back to where it started. So I feel like something happened, something went wrong. And I feel whatever is going wrong, it's like a repeating thing. It's just, it keeps going in a loop. There's a lot of fear between you two. And I do feel like both of you aren't being honest about something, and it could be something completely different to each other. Again, because person A has internal conflict and person B has more external. And so whatever it is you guys aren't being honest about, it's preventing you guys from moving forward here with the Chariot. You know, it's in reverse. It's not upright. If it was upright, it would tell me that things are going to progress, that things are working out, but that's not the case. Like, things things are not working out. And the Ace of Swords is really asking you to be honest. I feel like person A gets to a point where they're able to reach out, they're able to express themselves, but something's holding them back. I feel like person A has a lot more to say than person B, especially because person A is very internal and they're not expressing it. They're not letting it out. And I get that. Like I'm getting that from the Ace of Swords. It's like they reach out, they presented it, they present what they need to say and they present how they feel, but it's not enough. Like they're still holding back. They're still not being honest. And ultimately that comes down to them not being honest with themselves. Even if they could tell it to themselves, like in their mind, it's still not honest enough because they're not speaking it out loud to their partner. And the Ace of Swords is here to guide you guys and to let you guys know it's okay to speak your truth, because I feel like there could be a fear of like a breakup or a separation or a fear of not being accepted. And maybe at first it might be hard to accept this, whatever it may be. Whatever it is this person really wants to say to you or what you want to say to them. Maybe at first they really won't understand it. But you got to give them some time to sit with it and to think about it. And I do feel like there's a lot of maturity between you two. So I feel they will sit with it. So if you're person A, this should help alleviate some of your fears. Because Ace of Swords is such a powerful card. It's definitely one of my favorites. I mean, it's here to present you an idea. And it is a spark. It is a, if you compare it to Kabbalah and the Tree of Life, or Kabbalah, I'm sorry, and the Tree of Life, it sits at the top of the tree in Keter, and it's all about the divine spark, the divine emanation, the first light. And so it's like the light bulb going off. I always get that from the Ace of Swords. It's like a light bulb moment, sudden motivation. And yeah, I'm also getting something about the throat chakra. So clearly person A and person B, you both got to work on your throat chakra, but person A really struggles to speak up. And that could be one of their karmic challenges in this life, is learning how to speak up and be honest. Perhaps they grew up in an environment where they were not allowed to speak up and be honest with themselves. Maybe they would be ridiculed for it, or maybe they come from such a traditional household that you're really not allowed to have like opinions or something like that. Or maybe they see having opinions as something bad or something wrong. So there could be some shame here. I feel there's a strong emphasis with person A more than person B. Because person B seems to be really distracted by something else right now. They're distracted with their own stuff. And they could also just be, I'm starting to get like traveling. Maybe they travel a lot. Maybe they work a lot. Maybe their job or their career is a social one. And so maybe person A feels it's hard to speak out to person B because it's like they're always on the go. They're always doing something. They're always going to a social event, or they're always having something to do, like at work. Like they just, have a very social job that person A just feels like I don't have the time to tell them, or if I tell them, they won't have the time to sit with it. But that's the thing, they gotta let person B sit with it, whatever it is that they need to speak up about. And I feel it's really important because person A could be dealing with this Nine of Swords in reverse. Like, it's really eating them alive. Like, it really, like, it weighs heavy on them. And then, you know, Mercury and Virgo energy, like, that could just be, like, constant mental. Like, a Virgo is very analytical. They're very into fine details and perfectionism and things like that. Like, and so that could just be a big struggle right now for person A. Is that, like, perfectionism and just maybe even just dealing with their own thoughts. Maybe they just don't understand what it is they feel and what it is they think. And so they feel weird expressing it. And so for person A, maybe the best thing they can do is perhaps write it out, like write a letter, send an email to person B. So if you're person A, this is great advice because you can take it and run with it. Yeah, like if you struggle to talk to person B, maybe they're busy or maybe you just don't know how to articulate it well, I would sit and write it out. Maybe you can even read the letter out loud to them, or you can just pass it to them like, hey, I'm dealing with some issues. I don't know how to say it out loud. I don't know how to articulate it. I wrote it down. I wrote you a letter. Can you please read it when you have the time? Or can you please read it right now? I feel like you person A's got to say it now, though. Like, you want to have person B, or if you're person B, you want to allow them to say it to you now in the moment and then sit with it instead of them presenting it. Like, for example, the letter, like they give you a letter if you're person B and you don't read it right away. Like, don't do that. Like, you want to read it right away and then sit with it and respond to it later. Okay? That's like the energy I'm getting. And I'm not really meant to give advice here with the current energies because that's not what it's about. But, you know, maybe there's something in it with what I'm saying. Like, maybe, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so I think we've covered the current energies. And as I'm reading this, I do kind of feel like anxious, you know, but it's more like mental. Like, I feel like I am kind of all over the place. So yeah, like, you both are all over the place. Again, person A is very internal, very mental. Person B is very external. I feel like they're just really busy with other things going on in their personal life. And they may not even recognize or notice that person A is struggling over here. Okay, so let's look at what you need to know about this. And so basically we'll kind of, this is where we can get the real advice or the real, like, deeper outlook into what it is that's going on. Okay, so what you need to know, and what you need to know can be a resolution, and it's a very broad statement, you know, what you need to know. Basically, I just want to get, like, bring something to your guys' attention in these readings, okay? And if you feel you need to listen to another group, go ahead and do that. Or maybe even wait until I make another video like this. I don't know when I will make another video like this. But for now, let's just see what we can get. And so what you need to know with the current situation you're in this relationship, we got the Three of Swords, the King of Cups, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Fool. Now, I will say, I really don't ever, well, I wouldn't say don't ever, I hardly ever get the Three of Swords in a reading. But when I do, it usually does have to deal with relationships. So, you know, this is a very rare card for me to pull up. And I typically don't do relationship readings. Like, I don't have a private reading where it's just relationships, but I do have clients that inquire about it. So I just want to make that clear. It's not a card I typically see. So it's pretty self-explanatory if you don't know anything about the Three of Swords. I mean, look at it. There's a lot of pain here. There's a lot of pain in this relationship. There could even be some betrayal. In the worst possible case, there could be a third party, and that's where the dishonesty and the lying is coming from. But I don't see anything about deception. I don't feel like you guys are trying to or are deceiving each other. The only deception is in not speaking your truth. And again, like, I didn't pick up anything negative like a third party, but I am just mentioning that now. So don't freak out, okay? Because I didn't pick up on it earlier. I mean, it still doesn't mean that it's not possible, but again, it's just, I'm just going with what I'm getting, and I don't like to sugarcoat, but I also I don't want to I don't want to give the wrong impressions. Love readings are very tricky because I know they're very popular. People want to know these things about relationships. They want to get some closure. So I'm going to do the best I can with this. But there's definitely pain here. There's definitely, and because you guys are in the loop, you guys end up back here a lot. If not a lot, it could just be as of recently, as of late, within the past couple months, the past year. Maybe it's just been a really difficult year for both of you guys. But either way, I feel between you two, something has happened that's caused the other person a lot of pain. And I'm starting to think that person B had caused person A some kind of pain. But person B, maybe they don't realize it, or maybe they're in denial about it. They don't see what the big deal is. And that really hurts person A. And again, earlier when I was looking at the individual cards for person B, it's like how they just say things and do things without thinking. Like, they don't think too much about the other person. They don't think about the consequences. They're very competitive. And so they're bringing that into the relationship. And not in a healthy way. They're being they could also be really conflicting. And so that's where dishonesty can come from. If they're very conflicting, if they're very back and forth, say one thing, do another, that's dishonesty right there. And the King of Cups. I feel like I'm starting to get this is what you guys idolize in the relationship. This is what you guys think the relationship is the King of Cups, which is Pisces. So you think it is romantic, you think it's dreamy, you think it's soulmate activity, maybe even twin flame activity, and that could be true. It could be very true. It could be those things. It could really be a deep, spiritual, meaningful relationship. But at the same time, there's a front here. So you really want to sit with this and evaluate it. Is this really a deep, soulful connection? In the sense that I need to stick around with this person. I need to, this is good for me, whatever we're going through. Or is it a front? Do you guys put on a front in front of people? When you guys go out together in public, do you guys act like that in private? You know what I mean? And if you don't, there's some real issues there. Now, I understand that everyone's got a public image. Everyone puts on a mask when they go out. But there's some couples out there where they make it look like everything's perfect. But when they're alone, when they're at home, when they're together, it's not like that at all. There's a lot of conflict. There's a lot of disagreements. It's not all, chalked up to what it's supposed to be. I don't know if that's a saying, but I said it. So it's a saying now. But also at the same time, like, I feel like you both want that kind of energy. You want this King of Cups to where there is this emotional maturity. There is romance. There is play. There is soulmate connection. But I feel like you guys are putting a lot of expectations on each other. I feel like you guys are also chasing the high you guys got at the beginning of the relationship. Like the honeymoon phase. Like you're still trying to chase that. And it's really not happening because we have the 7 of Pentacles. And it's like, I feel like you guys build things up together. And again, you do. Like you build it up. You get there. And then something happens and you're back. You're back to the 9 you're back to the Chariot in reverse. You're back to the 9 of Swords in reverse. You're in this loop again. It's not going great again. And the 7 of Pentacles, it's like, this is a card about, it's not time to harvest. It's not time to reap what you sow just yet. Sometimes it is in a reading, but in this reading, I feel like you guys build up so much, but you can't make anything of it. And it could just be you guys are just have the wrong, I mean, part of it's just this miscommunication here, this not being honest with yourself. But it's like you guys place high expectations. Like you guys want that fairy tale. Or if not both of you, one of you wants that fairy tale. And you put all your eggs into one basket. You tend to your garden. You know, you really, you try to manifest it. You do all the right things, but your flowers still don't grow. Like you grow the bush, but it's not producing flowers. Now the Fool here is interesting. Because the Fool is about new beginnings, and it is about blind faith. It's about taking that first step. And so I'm starting to get like one of you's holding back from making, you're afraid to make the wrong move. But I feel like that move that needs to be made is the exact move that needs to be made. Like it is the right move, but like someone's being very, very hesitant. And it could be speaking up, you know, like I said with the current energies, like it could be that something needs to be talked about, because that's like the main theme of this reading. If anything, if you're to take one thing away from this reading, you need to talk about something. Whatever it is you're dealing with, whatever it is you're feeling, you need to talk about it. And if the other person, so especially if you're person A, and if the other person cannot reciprocate it, if they cannot maturely accept it, then you want to put yourself in the Fool's position and ask yourself, what is that step I'm afraid of that I need to take? What is that thing I need to do that I know I need to do, but I'm so afraid to do it? And it's hard to give advice to your partner if they're not going to watch this reading, or your person of interest. And so I'm going to try to speak on like what you could do regardless of which person you are. Okay, and especially if you are person B. This could be a hard pill to swallow, but it's good though, because this is going to help you prepare for when person A does reach out to you. Either way, you both need to take this first step. You both need to do something. And the Chariot is not going to advance. It's not going to go into the upright position until you guys embrace the energy of the Fool. I feel like you guys do have high expectations, or you had high, maybe you both have potential. Like, I still feel like there's a lot of potential here in this relationship. So, but it's going to be different for everyone. So for some of you, I could see how this relationship is going to go nowhere. But for most of you, I do want to say that there's still a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential, but there's a lot of work. Now, if you guys are in the beginning of a relationship, like let's say you've been together for less than 5 years, then you have to ask yourself, do I want to continue this? Do I want to give this another chance? Do I want to risk ending up back here again? Back here to the Three of Swords? Do I want to get hurt again? Is it worth it? You know, and that's a difficult thing to ask ourselves. And that's a difficult thing to take on if we do say, okay, yes, this is worth it because I believe they're my soulmate. It's hard because even if they are your soulmate, it doesn't mean it's meant to last forever. And that might be hard for some people to hear. And again, I don't want to discourage anybody either. Like, I don't want to tell you what your relationship is, because this is a public reading, you know, and other people are watching. But, you know, I also don't want to sugarcoat anything. This is also another reason why I don't like to do love readings, because I know when somebody hears something they don't like, they're going to want to tune out the rest of the reading. But if you made it this far, then that's good, because you're mature enough, you're open-minded enough to hear. And maybe you don't really resonate with what I'm saying, but you're still looking for something that you can take away from this. And again, if there's one thing to take away, communication. You both need to sit and communicate and be honest. Whether it's face-to-face, whether it's through letters, emails, whether you need to get a counselor, whether you need to go to couples therapy, whatever it takes, you both need to communicate. You need to dig deeper. You got to dig a lot deeper. And I'm looking at the Seven of Pentacles as I say that. Your roots aren't deep enough here. And that's why things kind of like end up in a cycle too. Like, the foundation, it's like the foundation you're working upon, I feel like there's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of doubt behind the foundation. And so that's why it's unstable. That's why it keeps cycling, you know. And they say too, like, if you keep having things like this in your life repeating, whether it's with the same person or whether it's yourself, or you attract these kind of people over and over again, there's a lesson that you're not learning. There's some kind of karmic debt you're not clearing. You know, it could also be something like shadow work, where you think you got it figured out, you think you healed the real root of the issue, but then it comes back again. And then you got to dig deeper, and then you realize, oh, like, actually there's more to it. And it's interesting because I watched a video before this about shadow work, and it reminded me how you know, you can't heal it all at one time. If the universe just slapped you with everything at once, like shadow work, let's say if you're dealing with a trauma, if it slapped you with every issue about that trauma at once, like, it would be devastating. And so that's why when we do shadow work, or that's why we're in these loops with people, the same people or with different people, it's because even if we know we've learned from it, like we've identified it, you gotta go deeper. Like, there's still something else to it. And that's Scorpio energy. So you may want to take a look at Scorpio in your chart, or maybe there's Scorpio maybe Scorpio season, you might find a resolution. So that's coming up here at the end of October and beginning of November. You guys might be able to reach a resolution here. But again, like, we can't deal with it all at once because it's overwhelming. So you gotta, the cycle you guys are in, I feel the cycle is because the real root isn't recognized, and it has a lot to do with communication. But at the same time, it's like, I don't think we could physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually handle like the full extent of something we need to heal at one time, because it would just be too overwhelming. The Fool card, I'm taking it like a Joker's card. It's like anything can go. This can go in any direction. But it is ultimately up to you to take that first step. And the Fool card is also, to me, it's like to be continued. So this reading is to be continued. I don't feel I can give you an exact like conclusion, like this is, do this and it solves everything. I don't think that's the case, because there's too much unresolved conflict here. There's too much unresolved issues that are still being hidden from each other. And it could be both of you, or it could just be one of you, you know, but together collectively, you got to come together. If you know it's not you, or you don't think it's you, you got to be open and and you got to hold space for the other person to see what it is that they're dealing with, that they feel is wrong, that they think is the issue. But again, like, I don't think it's going to be an easy conversation. This reading is really heavy. Like, there's really nothing easy about what's happening. And, you know, I had no idea what the reading was going to be like, you know, beforehand. And so here it is. This is the result of it. And so I do feel all relationships are karmic. All relationships have clearing, but not all relationships and not all people do clear that karma. That's kind of why karma exists, because it kind of comes back, whether it could be unresolved issues from like a past life. It could be something that happened at some point in a relationship and you guys just like completely washed over it. Like you guys put a blanket over it. You know, again, like the King of Cups, it's like you put on this act. You pretend there's nothing wrong. At least like in public, you guys pretend like everything's perfect, and it's not. Let's just be real here. Your flowers are not blooming. You're doing all the right things, right? You're gardening, you're tilling the soil, you're fertilizing, you're watering, but like there's something else that just, it needs to be addressed. And somebody's got to take the first step. Since you're the one listening to this, you got to take your first step, whatever that may be. And it should help bring you guys to this Ace of Swords where you need to have this conversation. Okay? And so I don't want to sound like a broken record, so I'm going to end the reading here. And I will pull an oracle card. This oracle card, it will be like an energy to kind of tie up everything. And I'm using the Urban Crow Oracle deck. And I love this deck because it deals with like everyday issues, you know. And it could just take the most complex issues and really just simplify it. Really, really ground it, you know. These crows are very like grounding creatures for us. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle that and pull a card and we'll see what we get. Okay, so the Crow Oracle we got is number 1, Abundance. And it's interesting because I placed this card down. I'm doing this reading on my couch. I placed it down on the couch and I went and picked up the cards I dropped on the floor and put them back in the deck, and I looked and I couldn't the card was nowhere to be found. And I looked through all the cards thinking, okay, maybe I just put it back within the deck. And I looked at all the cards and I didn't see it there. So I got up and went to the other side of the couch and it had fallen over. And so that might mean something. I feel like somebody's misplacing things. It could be material or misplacing their thoughts, misplacing, like, how do I say it? It's like, what's that saying? I can't think of it, but like stepping on your own feet. There's like this saying my mom used to say, I can't remember it right now. But yeah, like it's like stepping on your own feet is the best way I could put it. Okay, and so, yeah, let me go ahead and read from the book what it says for you guys. And I'll even put it up on the screen so that way you can screenshot it and take this information with you. So for abundance, the crows on one side of the bay know that the cannery is a source for a steady and easy meal, making gathering food an effortless task. And as a result, they spend their days enjoying their location. However, the crows who reside on the other side of the bay, where food is scarce, find searching for food much more difficult, and as a result, much of their days are spent focused on survival. The crows who do not live on the cannery side of the bay are unaware that an easy food source exists just a short distance away. Nor do they have the time or energy to waste exploring areas farther away. Abundance brings a reminder that there is a place where you too will find a myriad of possibilities. Focus your energy and attention on not what you lack, but what you know is out there waiting for you. Let your intuition be your guide. Abundance may appear if you need a reminder that from your current position, you might not see what is out there waiting for you. Of course, most of the time, this card represents a positive outcome. However, because these crows can be a bit cheeky, the meaning could very well indicate an abundance of something less favorable, such as an abundance of water in your basement. Okay, I think it's really important to sit with that. And the whole fact that this card fell off the couch. And this card speaks about looking to the other side. I do like the saying, they say that the grass is greener on the other side. And then the counter argument is the grass is greener where you water it. I feel like both apply. So yeah, you can go to the other side all you want, but if you're not going to water that grass, it's not going to be any greener. And so it's interesting because I get a lot of Libra energy, like a lot of scale tipping energy. It's a lot for you guys to balance. So I'm just going to leave the Oracle card there. I like the Oracle cards to speak for themselves. You want to analyze what the booklet says, and perhaps you already know what step you need to take. Perhaps you know what this Fool card energy means to you. But until you take that first step, nothing's gonna change. You're just gonna, this Chariot in reverse is gonna happen again. But at the same time, even if you do take that step, you could find yourself back where you started again. But if you both sense progress, like again, like how I said, shadow work, you can end up coming back to the same thing over and over again, finding something new every time. As long as that's happening, then there will be forward progression movement. And it might take some more tries, honestly. But that's how relationships work. But if you take this first step and you're back to where you started and like you're not being reciprocated by your partner, then you'll have to go from there. But the Fool card is a strong indication that I can't give you a final answer to the situation. This is an ongoing situation. Okay? So I'm going to conclude the reading here. I do hope it was helpful. I hope you were able to listen with an open mind and take what resonates. Whatever doesn't resonate or whatever doesn't sound like your situation, then completely disregard it because it was meant for somebody else. If you haven't yet already, please hit the subscribe button, tap the notifications bell, and like this video. By liking this video, you help to push it into the YouTube algorithm for other people to find. Follow my profile on Instagram at spotlessmindtarot. Replace the I in mind with the number 1. If you would like to book a private reading with me, my readings are available on my Etsy shop, kaleidoscopeescape.etsy.com. I have the link for that in the description below. Also, do me a huge favor and let's drop the bird emoji in the comments below. There's several bird emojis, so pick the one that you like. By doing this, it helps me know that you're here with me. You could also just say you picked group 4 or you picked the strawberry or whatever the case. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am very, very grateful for having your presence, and I will catch you in the next video.